were able to refresh your mind about the Chief Justice position. Certain things one like to forget, but it's part of history, part of that person existing. And for those who don't know or want a clear picture why Chea Cheapoo resigned, not that you were incompetent or so, but what that will happen. So could you just clear a little more on it? Of course she died and nothing was heard about, but what was it surrounding?
Okay. Yes, I was made Chief Justice by the People Redemption Council by President Doe. It was after 1985 when he was elected president. And they gave me a letter which I still have now, giving me the responsibility of reforming the judiciary and restoring the credibility of the judiciary. So I went there with a special mandate. So the first thing I did, I wanted to study and see the court. So I conducted a national judicial tour. I went in every court, circuit court. I visited Justice of the Peace Court, Magisterial Court. I saw the personnel. I talked with them. I had meetings. And I found out that the judiciary was the way it was because, number one, first, it was staffed by people who could not read and write, especially in the lower courts, such as the magistrates. And people did not go they didn't keep their job based upon appointment. In the law, magistrates, stipendiary magistrates, are serving for 2 years. I think the stipendiary magistrate 4 years, associate magistrate 2 years. Justices of the peace, they get their commission from the president, I think, for 2 years. Maybe they changed the law now, but when I was there, that was the law. And people got appointed by Tokman. Tokman stayed in office for 27 years. Some of them served for 26, 28. When Tokman left, it was still magistrates. They didn't have any commission. So under the law, any decision they made, the court hearing the conductor was illegal. They're not appointed. They had to be appointed and sworn in during a tenure recognized by law. And when they were not reappointed, they could not be working. But they just went ahead and were working. Justices of the peace, anybody who feel that he can have a court, they will go in the street corner there and then just create one court and people will get used to going there. And nobody will ask him. Justices of the peace courts are done by a commission. They're not just done because you want to be a judge. And all these things were going on. More importantly, the people could not read and write. The law is written in letters, in books. And there are so many laws. And our law is based upon the Anglo-American jurisprudence. So if you can't read and write, how you will read the English law? How you will read the American law before coming to the Liberian law?
Councillor Cheapoo, that's true. Your activities that you did at the court, it speaks for itself because everyone knew you did very well there. But I'm talking about this specific incident where they went to bribe you. You said a relative of Doe who happened to be a judge who went there to attempt to bribe you, and you could just tell, because for history what really went on, what you did say to do what to the person, and what the role Esther Parker played where she was there, and with 2 days she was dead on the bridge.
Madam Commissioner, I will do that.
Yes.
I just lay the basis. Sorry, as a trial lawyer, you will lay the basis. All right. So I tried to revamp the court, and I did that, and people accepted it. Court people complained. I gave them notice. If you don't have your commission, you got 90 days to go to your legislator to recommend you for you to be appointed or go to president. But after 90 days, I will write a letter that you can't serve again. I won't dismiss you because you're not even a judge. But you're not reappointed, so you're not judge. So I will just write a letter, you might not go to the court again. So I came back home. Then we had a case in the Supreme Court where one kind of company, some insurance company called, I forgot the name now, National Insurance
United Insurance Company.
United Insurance Company. They were going around insuring civil servants, and they insure personnel in the judicial branch of government. Just imagine all the court workers all over the country in the circuit court, ministerial court, and other things. But they didn't give any document. They would just take your name from the payroll and put it down. When they're deducting money, Minister of Finance would deduct that money and give it to them. They have no relation with you, no record, nothing. So when I got there, I wanted to have a clinic because there is enough space in the Supreme Court to have a clinic there. Because I used to have the problem of all the time, oh, where Aaron, where Mary, oh, she gone to hospital. And I said, but we can have a clinic here. But they say, yeah, and these people that are going to hospital like that, the insurance company didn't do nothing to them because they didn't even give them premium. I mean, this certificate that you get from insurance company that show that they can pay for your sickness when you are sick or pay you when you are damaged. They didn't have any document from the insurance. They just took their name from the payroll and then collect money and authorize the Minister of Finance to be collecting money. And they were paying that money for over 2-3 years. So when I got there, I found out about this something. I said, okay, send the judicial workers are insured. I will call the United Security Insurance Company to come and help us set up a clinic here. During that process, they were reluctant. So I summoned them in the Supreme Court, and they came. Then they say, well, I said, well, these people that you register all over the country, where the paper? You get any paper? No paper. I said, but how do you know these people? He said, well, we got their payroll. I said, yeah, but how do the people know that you're cutting money from their pay for you to be responsible for their sicknesses and burial and other things? They say, yeah, we're in the process of doing it, but we haven't done it. It's been a couple of years. So I said, all right, I'll go back and tell the employees. I had the judicial employee to have a meeting. People came from different parts of the counties, and they had a meeting. And they say, yes, they wanted the insurance company to give them documents for their insurance, and they have been deducting money for 2 years. They got no services. So they need to give them information. When you say go to the hospital, carry your car, and then you can get treatment and send the bill to us. We will pay. All that thing had to be done. So they made that proposal to me. I said, all right. So I told the insurance company in a meeting to do it. I didn't see this Towafi woman. She was not there. They were handled by some Ghanaians and Nigerians, I think they were. They didn't want to talk to. So they agreed. But they were not doing that. So I told them, well, they couldn't be deducting money from Liberians, civil servants from the judiciary, until they regularize their policy and people start getting benefit. And also they must go ahead and set up the clinic down there as a first instance so that people can get treatment. They refused to do that. Then to compromise their responsibility, they decided to send one stubborn woman, fine woman, but they tell me she Samuel K. Doe girlfriend. I don't have problem with that. But she came to the office there, and you know I told you about the American Liberian women, well-dressed, nice built woman, came to me. And then she said, I want to see you. I said, yeah, what you say? First of all, it was Harper Bailey. The Harper Bailey who you see walking around. He was probate judge. He the one who came to me and said, I got some people that want to see you. That time, this thing about enforcing the insurance policy against the company to provide for the people that were roaming around. And there was a threat that if they don't continue that, we would suspend the insurance contract and make them pay the money back that they've been collecting because there's no service. I shouldn't be diverging money from my pocket. So that's what they had. So Stubberfee came to my office and said she wanted to see me. And Harper Bailey, as a magistrate, as a second, what is the name? Probate judge. So I said, okay, I'll let the people come. So Stubber Fee came. They sent a girl. She talked to me. And the case, I'm going to drop the case. And she didn't want a whole lot of talking. The company had been here long. And we've been working with the PRC. And so the people are good people and this and that. She brought a check for $200. She didn't even know how to bribe people. When you bribe somebody, you're not supposed to leave footprints. So you bribe them with cash, not check. When you give me check, then you're setting me up. I'm telling you, young people. All right. Now, so I couldn't take the check. So she says, so I told her, I said, okay. Harper Bailey had told me that she got something to give me. I said, all right, no problem. And he said, well, you're sitting down here, the Chief Justice sitting here. Do then just get $1 million from some kind of contract they were making. Some people came, and he said, do then, and they got $1 million. That time they had our friend who in the street now say he want government help. What his name said? Jenkins Scott. He's a cameraman in Philadelphia. I know him. He's not a lawyer. Anyway, yeah. All right. Please give me your ears. The people want me to talk quick. Please. Well, I said that because if Jenkins is a lawyer, you can open a law firm. Mean that why I'm living on. Why go in the street like somebody? All right. So, he said the woman wanted to see me, so I said, okay. When the woman came, and I know that our bribery get something for me. Do then to $100 million from one company that came there, and then they are sitting down here and not doing something for myself. That's what Harper Bailey told me in confidence in the meeting. I said, okay. So me, I know that our bribery. And I said, well, to refund the judiciary, I don't want bribery. The woman later on came and brought a check for $2,000 for me to take. So I said, all right. I have planted my special assistant, who is still alive, Mr. Seko Dean, my classmate, roommate in BWI. And I will call Seko today. Say, I told my secretary to be in a closet, in a small room there in the Chief Justice office. There's a small office where he can meet people, not in the big office, but outside there. You pass through it, then you go to the bathroom. And I used to like to use that office because it's small, and rather than a big office. So I was in there, and she came. Those people were in the cupboard. And then she took the $2,000 check and gave it to me and told me to forget the matter, let the insurance company go on. In fact, there will be Mona Stubber Fee, her name. In fact, the company will be happy to do anything I want them to do for me, and this and that. So I said, all right, fine. She happened to have come in the evening. I got the TV camera people to be there. They were also hiding. When she delivered the letter from the information ministry, then when she tried, she gave me the check. Then I said, Seko. And Seko opened the door. Then the TV camera came, and they started taking her picture, and they filmed the whole thing. So I arrested. I told them to arrest Harper Bailey. Incidentally, the woman came and talked to me, said she was going to give me something, but she didn't bring she gave the check to Harper Bailey. It was Harper Bailey who came in my office in the evening. I work late. I'm doing reform now. I got to go home. I eat in the office. So I was working late that evening around about 7 o'clock. Harper Bailey came there. Well, I already had these people planted, including the TV camera. And he came and gave me the check. So I called Seko. Seko came. Everybody came. The camera came. They filmed him. And I called the police from outside there to have him arrested for attempting to bribe the Chief Justice of Liberia. So they arrested him. he slept in the jail. The next morning, people say why I didn't go to Doe to tell him, well, I know my duty. Doe say I'm going to reform the judiciary. If you commit crime, then I'm supposed to arrest you. I'm supposed to go tell president. So that was my constitutional right as a citizen to file when somebody implicated me in crime. I had to tell president on that one there. He wanted to bribe me, not the government. And I didn't take it lightly. So I have him arrested. I told him, you will obviously be in jail, court. And in the Constitution, in the one you got now, look into it. Judges are dismissed on the charges of bribery. When judge is accused of bribery to investigate you, you can be removed from office. It's in the Constitution. I say statute law in the Constitution. That's one of the only reasons, one of the offenses that judges can be removed for. So I had him arrested because he was doing bribery directly with me. He slept in jail the next morning. I sent for him, filed bail bond down there to the magistrate court, and then we will come and try you. I signed the Justice Department. They are preparing an indictment for bribery. How about Billy said, I'm not filing no bond. So he left. So I said, you're going in jail. So they put the man in jail. After that, I saw doing a mansion car, go to prison, and go release the man. I said, oh, the man thing we in PRC, eh? He didn't understand. He still wanted to be soldier man. But he was elected president under constitutional law. And so I didn't like that. And so he went and released the man. When he released the man, I resigned. I told him that under the circumstances, he interfered with the operation of the judiciary, the executive branch, legislature, and the judiciary. They ought not to interfere. When you're in that branch, you can't do the job of another branch. And you not ought to interfere in the work of any of the branches when you are in there. In the Constitution, you go look at it. So for Doe to come and release somebody who is already being arrested by court and charged with crime without any reference to the Chief Justice, that was a criminal act. And president can be put in jail for crime. You call yourself president, you kill somebody, they will arrest you because you're not supposed to murder. So he did that. I didn't have a problem with him. I just simply resigned because he didn't know better. I wasn't going to do that same thing they're doing in the PRC. Go kill people, then they're blaming us. So I just walk out and resign. And he didn't say he was shocked. He didn't think I would do it. After 10 days, I heard the House. At the time, the House, when preparing the budget for that year, the House asked for cars. Those say he didn't have money. But because they wanted the House to be a Kangaroo code, he bribed them by giving them from the African Motor Company here across the bridge here in the Freeport Junction there. They gave each of them a car. All the senators, all the representatives. Doe made the company to give them cars. So they went, the legislature, House of Representatives prepared this indictment. Kakula Poto came to me and said, well, we are preparing the indictment. I've been there, I talked to Doe. I didn't send Kakula Poto. Maybe he felt I needed to be protected or something. But he said he'd been to President Doe and he talked to the man, but the man, he said he's going to impeach me. So I said, well, you want to impeach me? Well, I already resigned. I'm not your government official again. I resign. If he say I put a man in jail, let him take me to court, then we'll bring the evidence. I had a check that time. So I tendered my resignation. 10 days after that, I went and got some people. This lady you are talking about. This lady, really, she was not my secretary, but she was an advocate for the insurance policy thing and was working in the judiciary. So she told me all that will happen, all the information I got, how they were going. They couldn't even show them the hospital they were going for training, and they were just deducting their money. They never consulted them. They didn't sign any paper with the insurance company. They just did it through the personnel office and all that kind of thing there. So I said, well, will you be a witness? He said, yeah, Chief, I will be witness. Okay, so she was, and I also had 1 or 2 witnesses, but they were not known. So when the matter was pending, and then the House fixed an indictment to impeach me. I went there. Harry Moniba was vice president, but he had no approbation about the law. I don't know how you can be doctor. You even had no real concept. You're not lawyer, but you got all Liberians, you have concept of the law. You didn't have. So you ask question, overrule. Any question you ask, overrule. Overrule. So I told them, why I think this lady died after my impeachment, or before, I think. Then while we were in that, this lady who I agreed to be my secretary, to be my witness, for some reason, we found out that the police said they found her body under the bridge. That what you call our 2-way bridge, huh? Double bridge in Kiteabo Estate area there. Found a woman dead. Minister of Justice, the government, they didn't conduct any findings. Police didn't do investigation. They merely went and buried her. But there were some police officers who they say were in those premises on that day. Top police officer. And when this thing occurred, nobody accused anybody. And the matters today remain. But people knew that this was a woman who wanted to be a witness of the Chief Justice, who resigned, and then now they killed her. So that what happened. Then when I didn't like the trial, they wanted to impeach me because Doe gave them money. They bribed the Judiciary. Not Judiciary, but the legislature. You imagine. All those people, they submitted themselves to bribery, gave each one of them get a car. And so they wrote this thing and tried to impeach me. I went to the trial. I didn't want to go there. Sister Ada started crying. I'm not made plow with the government, I alone, so I'm going to go there. And these people, I saw your people, they will kill me, all that kind of thing. Sister Ada, give me a hard time. Peace be with her soul. She was my mother and big sister. She always used to help me. But anyway, because of Sister Ada, I went to the hearing. I decided not to go there. Say you can do anything you want to do. I already resigned. I'm no Chief Justice for you to come impeach me. Sister Ada said I'm going to go, so I went. And they were running a Kangaroo Coup. And no justice in there. In fact, you come to try a Chief Justice, former Chief Justice, a lawyer, former Minister of Justice. You should have some approbation about the law, eh? At least find some way to make it decent. No, there are all the current people. Most of them couldn't read and write. And then they think what you do, I'm not going to see it. And all that. I said, but what is this? And gentlemen, commissioners, I was not disposed to sitting through it.
These are facts, they happen in history, and you be gone just like your children, so let the world know.
Yeah, so I just told them, all right, look, Mr. Moniba, you doctor honor the illiterate man in the Senate. I said, you doctor honor the man who is an illiterate man. Then every time you ask me, you accuse me, then you want to impeach me because you say I did judicial tour and I sacked a lot of people without the director of the president. So they sent for the payroll from the Supreme Court. The payroll showed that everybody got paid. Nobody was sacked. But there was a warning during the open court, my session that I had, that if you don't regularize, I gave them 90 days, which were 3 months. This incident happened, it was not quite 1 month. In fact, when the thing came about, I was still conducting the judicial tour. I don't remember going to Cape Mount. Then they went and said that I want sack people and took my own order. Only president can appoint judges and president can sack them. But I went and the indictment, I still got in my house there. And all kinds of things to talk. Then when we went, they didn't have any witnesses. I brought a payroll where those people were still getting their salaries. No no what you call resignation letter, no dismissal, no anything. I brought records from my judicial tour in each county and showed to the Senate that I didn't sack anybody. I only told them they had to regularize their appointment, and said the Senate was adamant to impeach me. So I walk out. But when I'm going to eradicate, I was much a better man. Cheson's son, I come sit down here, people telling me all kind of things. So I walk out. So I told them as I walk out that look, my life is in your hand. Anything happen to you, to me, my blood will be on your head. And I walk out. Then Doe went in there with gun in his hand, told Harry Moniba and the Senate why they allow me to walk out. Harry Moniba, this time he began to think right. He said, the man, we say he's Chief Justice and we want to impeach him. How can we arrest him? I couldn't arrest the man because we say the man Chief Justice and we want to impeach him. He said, but any man resign. Oh, so you know what he's doing, eh? So, okay, so that what happened. He said, I resign. They're supposed to arrest me. I'm not supposed to leave the Senate. But then he said the people must impeach me. So Samuel K. Doe really didn't know what to do. Anyway, I walk out. 1 week after that, few days, I don't know whether it was 1 week, they impeached me. I wanted to go to the funeral of Miss Parker, but my wife told me, don't go there. She was afraid about my life. So don't go there. But I made sure that she had a decent funeral. The judiciary helped, people in the place, they collected money. I didn't go there. I don't know whether they gave the people the money, but she was buried. And I walk out. So really the Senate didn't have time to impeach me because I was not Chief Justice for them. And that was a Kangaroo court. I couldn't subject myself to that. So I walk out. That's how I left the judiciary.
Yes, thank you. And the point when you say whether she had a good bearer, she did have a good bearer, and it triggered the political activists and human rights. At those days, they didn't call it human rights activists, but the activists and the churches, because she was buried in Salem Baptist Church.
Yeah.
And I remember this the first time one preacher would preach. I think Reverend Walker did one portion of the preaching. What his name? Riches. Walter Riches did one portion of it. Reverend Washington did it, and preachers were just getting up, talking about the times in the country at that time, how they were hard times.
Yes.
So it really awoken the conscience and of that. So at least 1980, whatever year it was, 86.
To close my reply,
86, yes. Her name will be going down in history. Esther Parker, one of those who were killed so repetitiously for trying to give justice. Okay.
Yeah. I think it was sometime I met Harper Bailey in the court. He's still practicing, he's my good friend. So I said, Harper, that thing what you did, you go say you could bribe me, say you begging me, you want to do, yeah, all kind of thing to do, that was illegal. He said, no, that thing what Doe did is not my business. I know nothing about it. It's not my business, Doe did it. So I ain't got nothing to do with it. This is what Harper Bailey told me. So we always meet in the court, we shake hands, I talk to him. Sometimes he hesitated to talk to me. I would say, hey, Billy, I will talk to him. It's not a personal matter, gentlemen. This is a state matter. We handle it on a state level. And this is what I'm doing.
You know, like in your lamentation, you still were able to say how you felt then and how you feel now. You talk about how the American Liberian girls can take care of homes and all that, sure enough. But, and you did say also during that time, because what we want to, the way and manner in which you reacted during the early days of the coup, people had different impression about Chea Cheapoo. But now coming and sitting and talking, it looked like you were really working in fear of the PRC government, and now that you say you all were taking instructions, really like what disappear and subordinate. But also one thing I saw, and you did talk about it, for this Congo country, when you took over, mostly like you said, you wanted Palace because he was a countryman, and you felt, perhaps probably it was time for the country people to rule. But within your own self now, as you reflect, did you had some bitterness then for the so-called people who were considered American Liberians or affluent people in the status quo? You don't have that feeling now, I can see. But at that time, did you have it because of the resentment or what you felt or what?
Yes, I have to admit, I did have resentment because I came from a first-class family of the human family. And I told you about how my grandfather, the man who named and carried, how he was a great man, and all of that. So I come from a line of reputable people. And I come here, and some kind of person who don't have history, he will come tell me, say, better because he can speak English, or because I'm not from here, I'm from another part of the country. I had strong resentment. I didn't like it. And the way the government was being run, I didn't like it. Simpson had no business to tell me. I got my own job. I was just a legal counsel there. If I didn't write the opinion that the president must pay taxes because he's a public servant, Tobo was not going to make me assistant minister for commercial transaction. I got it on my own merit. So if I decide I want to leave the place, then he will go and block me, tell the minister, man, I'll give me a job. That's the same impunity. I know he would not have done it to another Simpson. But he did it to me because I had nobody. The same thing Grimes did it to me. President Togban appointed me a legal counsel of the State Department, which is equivalent to a deputy minister. They would take it and give it to Henry Cooper. That was not fair. So I had strong dislike for that.
Thank you very much. And your father, the late Chessie, was considered to be Perry Mason, right? During those days.
Yeah, J.G. Chessie was a good lawyer, yes.
Thank you. And I think when history writes, they will consider whether Chea Cheapoo was a good lawyer too. You will get your place in history, at least for coming to clear the air about those myths and rumors and your feelings. And thank you most of all for the recommendations and charges that you gave to the young people and those who want to continue to carry the torch. Thank you.
Thank you. And Commissioner, thank you very much.
Mr. Witness?
When I came forward, I was afraid of the commission, but I think you are a friend. All of you. You're not here to intimidate anybody. I think you want justice done and you will get it.
Thank you very much for that comment, Mr. Witness. The TRC is a friendly forum where all Liberians are treated with respect and treated equally. So thank you very much. Okay. You spoke about the PRC and how they dispense power. And like my colleague Sheikh Kafuma Kone stated earlier, there were or have been a lot of rumors passing around through the corridors about what might have happened during that time or those times. But the first witness yesterday, Mr. Kuya, and then also yourself, have told us that a lot of important decisions that were taken were not brought your way, that the PRC Executive Council whatsoever took those decisions outside of
People Redemption Council.
The People Redemption Council, outside of the civilian ministers who were working with them at the time. My question is, in your own opinion, who do you think was the most influential member of the PRC at the time who could have easily influenced any decision and who could have made a difference, whether for or against any situation?
Well, really, I didn't see, in fact, Bacchus and I had a problem. Nobody really was influential. They so were afraid of us. Remember, we were the people forming a party to take power. So they know we were power, in their view, we were power hungry, we were aspiring to power. And they didn't want to give us a chance in any manner that would sort of depict that we will get that power. They wanted us to know just from the get-go that we were subject to them. And that's why after, within the PRC government, before I left, they made, I think they were doing after the election or something, no, during the PRC, they made everybody, me and Major, they made all of us, and sometimes we go and tell them, they say, my man, this is Soya government, and that thing you're talking about law. I said, no, but Soya government's supposed to go by law. And for instance, there was a man who was found guilty for murder. I tried the man in the court of law right here with the same old judges that were there. We didn't change the judges. The probate court, circuit court judges were not changed. They were still there. So this man he killed his wife. He killed his wife and I think daughter and something else. And he was in jail there. So the man was tried. And the time came, I went to the mansion and told the president to sign the death warrant because he's supposed to be put to death by hanging. He's a murderer. The law says you kill, then government kill you. So I went to there, I met the chairman Barker Matthew, the late chairman Barker Matthew, and he had problem with me going there and seek the death penalty to be enforced. So I said, well, he said, but this is not a time to tell people to enforce death penalty. I said, yeah, but anyway, I tried the People Redemption Council had their, I said they had their court there in the barrack. Then they went and killed the people. They may committed murder. We're not going to tolerate that. How you will kill your wife and your children? For what? For what reason? So we had a man, don't sign the paper. But that Barker felt that I ought not to have done that. Well, so we had different views. He didn't have influence, and they play politics with us. Anytime after a meeting, when we are leaving, that they will call Barkers. So Barker thought that the PRC government were going to give him power, but he didn't understand the politics. No countrymen at that time were going to give a Barker's presidency. I don't know why he didn't understand that. So he used to be friendly with Doe. When we would have meeting, we would leave, and then he would go talk to Doe, this and that. But when time came, Doe ran for the presidency because we thought that, after the PRC regime, they will resign, and then they will give civilian government, and they will go back to the barracks. That's what I see people doing. But Doe decided to run for the presidency. And so Barker lost out. None of the PRC men, Quia can speak Crown, he's from Sapo tribe, and he may have had his friend, but Quia didn't have that much dominant influence. I didn't see anybody having that. You could say, well, if I go to Quia or go to Barkers or go to any civilian minister, they will help me to do it. We were not that powerful. They didn't trust us. Okay. Because we were vying for power when we got in that situation, so they didn't trust us.
Okay. Thanks for that clarification, but my question was actually about the PRC members themselves, the 17 listed men and those who were
who were wielding power.
Yes.
Well, Doe was a dictator in a sense. And this is why later on he asked me, say, well, look, we're saying it's a general. Everybody general. Then they call me, Master Sergeant Doe, Master Sergeant Doe. If I'm chairman, then I'm supposed to be general too. I say, yeah, you are commanding general. And you are CIC. He said, yeah, you put it down. So he was not a general because I told him, I said, for you to go there and say the people must make you general, you the big man, you the chairman of the council. You can't go to the same council that you chair, say they must make you general because we're saying it's general, Podia general. He said, yeah, but I higher rank in the army before. I said, yeah, but you can't go back there to them. But you are CIC. You are the commander-in-chief of the army of Liberia. You gave the last order. All those generals will obey. So therefore, he said, so it will be CIC. I said, yeah, it's okay. From now on, they must call me CIC, head of state, Samuel Kanye Doe. And you remember they calling CIC on radio? That's why we decided to do. So really the PRC members, and Doe was afraid of them. Really nobody who had power. Most of the power was exercised by Doe. Of course, he had cliques who could not dominate him in the debate, especially when he started executing them for counter coup. Everybody got scared. You better do what the CIC say. So the guy afraid. So really the power was Doe. Nobody had, the PRC members said they didn't have any much. I remember in some of our meetings, PRC member, and you know how Podia later on got killed and they say you were bringing army. Somebody will bring army, then you're okay on the airfield, then what the army? So that was it. You were afraid of people like Podia, you were afraid of Wesson, you were afraid of Nicola, what the man named Kwamukpa, you were afraid of all those boys. But so he exercised full power. Sometimes we will have meeting. If you're not invited, people, Retention Council member, you say you're not included. Until Doe invite you to the cabinet meeting, you will not go there. You were very jealous of his position.
Okay. The TRC commissioners were in the United States in the month of June, holding public hearings there, I think you heard. Mm-hmm. And one of those who testified was Kolonko Luo. Uh-huh. He was a close associate of Doe and also a member of the inner circle of the PRC members. Mm-hmm. And one of the things he said in his testimony was that he thought Samuel Doe started off fine, but he was ill-advised, and he has his clique, and he was ill-advised by some people surrounding him. Do you share the same view? I share that view, because how you will listen and say, he overthrew somebody who we say was despotic and stayed long in office and then gave other people a chance. What make him to feel that Crown people will come from Zwedru in the bush there and tell you, say, you will be president as long as Tokman has been, and then when you're ready, you will tell who you want. It was not in their realm to say that, but they influenced Doe. Just what they call Ramsey, what his name say, I forget, John Ramsey, and other people, and other old men, and they will tell, I know them very well because they myself used to get into it. I say, you people, many of y'all, they born y'all with cure women, and born y'all with crew women because the people working with Firestone. You're not even real Crown. I come from the belly of a Crown woman for 10 months. So when they talk about Crown people, I'm more Crown than y'all. And they were ill-advising the president how he was going to be in office for as long as he wanted, and he would get old in office, and he would turn the power over to whoever he wanted, knowing that we have a constitutional democratic process. Okay. You also mentioned when you spoke, when you testified earlier, that the decision to have the 13 government officials executed was taken by the People Redemption Council outside of the rest of you.
Yeah.
And then you said when you heard about it and you went to the president to inquire as to why it happened, one of the reasons they gave you was that these men were commissioned as militiamen in the army. Now, just for those of us who do not understand the military or do not have any military background, can you just tell us very briefly what is the difference between, for example, a civilian person who was commissioned as a militia and a regular army personnel?
You are army personnel. That's why we drill together. Remember, militia can go out to drill with the army in shuffling over there. Mm-hmm. And we were in school. I know you were there. And you see the people were drilling all the time. They were military or something. Mm-hmm. The Kenny Bear is our what they tell me, was our captain on BW, in the platoon 2. They train us there. They have two armies. They have the active army, which was the AFL, and they have the militia. We at this time, we were empowered by law to fight war. In fact, we are the first line of defense. When there is a war declared, they will get the militia of that area to put up a defense before the regular army go there.
Is that what they call the National Guard or Reserve?
No. National Guard was the name we gave to AFL. But we are called militia. It's in the law. The militia is a group of citizens who are organized, and they commission them, and they get command in each village and in town, each county. They have some general there for the militia, so that in time of crisis, in time of war, they can be activated to go fight. All government need to do now is to just give them guns and give them a mandate.
You also mentioned here today that you helped to draft decree number 1, which spoke of rampant corruption, abuse of power, etc., etc. Given that, I think I remember that rampant corruption, abuse of power, misuse of public office was among the charges that was levied against government officials, especially the 13 men who were executed. Since you didn't know about it, and looking back now, do you feel deceived that they used, that document was misinterpreted and used as an instrument of the execution?
Yeah, because we didn't know. Yes, the punishment were various. I don't know that decree now. I left my papers in that place. I had a copy of all those decrees. Even the one that banned the people in the new press, this time people just read anything yet. Some kind of decree on newspaper. 88A. Okay. They misinterpreted the decree to their interest. I think the reason why they did that is they just felt that a Tobo remain here and the old people with all their money, they remain here and their connections, they were going to have a counter coup. They were going to come back in any way. All you needed to do is just give them some kind of liberty. They get out of here. The next day you be gone. Because they have money, they can finance an army. And so they were afraid of them. So they made their own judgment that this thing, we just got to get rid of the people. So they misinterpreted the decree and they enforced it in their own interest. And they are gone, we are here to answer.
A follow-up question to that. I was going to ask a follow-up question concerning Decree 88A. You just mentioned that they misinterpreted the decrees, or at least to a large extent. Now, Decree 88A was one of the most popular in terms of public outcry and outrage, because Decree 88, seemingly suppresses freedom of expression and freedom of assembly, and especially journalists and media institutions were in jeopardy of violating that particular decree. Now, how do you feel about Decree 88 now? What was behind the creation of Decree 88A?
Well, we had to impose that decree. I also took a part in drafting that decree, and we intend to make it what it was. Because at that time, they think they couldn't do in the True Whig Party government. Everybody think they got a whole lot of freedom. People who were standing on the sideline, working with the True Whig Party hegemony, now they got their freedom, they think they're going to use it any kind of way, market it, they carry on. So pressmen were just writing all kinds of stuff. That was not right. They were giving, there's a law where when you write against somebody, you impeach his credibility in the press, you get him bad, propagandize things he do or he did not do, and then you spoil his name. He loses, such a person will lose credibility, public support, and all kinds of things will happen. And especially with my stance in Justice Department to bring about security control of the place and stopping people from, going in people's houses and then doing the raping in presence of the men and killing people after the coup were over and were already in authority, and they will go and take the body and publish it and do all kinds of things. And most of their stories were not thoroughly investigated. Later on I became a publisher. I'm a publisher of the Standard newspaper all the way to the war. I used to publish for the rebels, NPFL. They used to put their leaflet under my door, and I will publish it. The people say they come in, they're going to be, in 3 days they will be in Kakatan. And when they are in Kakatan, they will attack Monrovia. And though then thought that I was working with them, no, I didn't see the people. I saw press release, so I published it. So the Decree 88A was strong. It was strong for that time. And that was the condition, and that was the time. So I don't regret making it.
Okay.
If I have the situation now, I will make it again.
You
even though God forbid, I don't want to have it.
Councillor Cheapoo, you also gave some insight on the coup makers that night. You said originally there was 7 of them, and you said one of them was the unknown soldier.
Yes.
Can you remember, or do you know at all the 7 by names and the name of the unknown soldier? Because it's been like a mystery.
Okay. I know Samuel K. Doe. I know Nicholas Podia. I know Wesen. I know what the other man, did I call Podia name? Arian Kwali, Father Vani, Jeffrey Batu. I think that's the one. Jeffrey Batu was my friend. But they told me later on, I found out that the PRC assigned Jeffrey Batu on me to find out what I was doing. Jeffrey Batu will eat in my house. He will sleep there. He will come pick me up. He will be in the Justice Department. I thought he was a good manner friend, but he was a dangerous friend. Oh, Kungba Pa, he always spending money. We had security money every month, $10,000 US. That's why I read Justice Department. That's what people talk about money now. I say, Yapa, who is power in the place? They think it's not even power. You got a democracy thing over here. Who are ruling military government? $10,000 every month. And anytime I want money, I can send for it from Treasury. Yeah, I ain't got to go write letter, I take phone. What the Minister of Finance? I know John Bestman, some kind of person was there. When I would say, well, the security money is depleted. They will send the money for security. Security money is not accounted for. And you have peace, so you don't account for security money. You did the security, that's why we have peace here. So we used to have that money. And my friend Kwemukba, he always asks for money on the radio. Minister, do you have anything for me? I said, yeah. Can't gain 1,000. That time you were using American money. I don't know why you can't use your own money. Okay, I didn't say something about the money question. I will say something before I leave. So I will give him money. So we had that relationship, and I was all friendly with them. On the money question, when things get tough, I had a CIA in my office. They even tried to bribe me with one white woman who was here. I don't know to get information from me or what thing, but they brought one tall, nice-looking Italian woman. And the man from the U.S. Embassy, he brought a man, oh, he's working with me. She's working with me, and she's a good friend. And so I asked him one day, I said, well, look, what woman is she married? He said, no, she's not married. She's not married. Why? What you have concern about her? I said, no, she's such a beautiful woman. He said, she's not married. So I know what you were on. So they used to get information. When our woman came, she used to come in the Justice Department, sit around, look. Let me be get in the car and go with me when I'm going anywhere. But she was not a good woman. She used to report on us. I don't know if I answered your question right.
Yes. The unknown soldier.
The unknown
do you know
soldier.
Who he was?
Yeah, they say this man was a crown man. And the soldiers exchanged fire with him in the mansion. You remember President Tobo, the late President Tobo had one fellow there who was a commander. The fellow, he had some kind of house. I know his place. He was in Bento. Before you get to Bento, when you leave in Bento and going further up, coming to the back road, sorry, to come to Corwell. Oh, where that fellow?
Was that Conor-Riley?
No, Conor-Riley. Charles Riley. That's right. Charles Riley tried to resist during the coup, and I think the open fire, and one of the PRC men, that's how he got killed. But they had already perpetrated the coup, or whether they were going to perpetrate it. But then one soldier died from fire from the Liberian army.
So you know who he was?
No, they didn't call his name. They say unknown soldier. They don't want to call his name.
Do you know anything about the late Jebbo? People are alleging that he was the unknown soldier.
Who?
Jebbo.
Jebbo?
Yeah.
Certainly, you know the PRC were not going to make Jebbo the unknown soldier. There were two people, according to what I learned later, Doe explained to me. And the map that was drawn in the mansion was drawn by the CIA. Doe told me I'm a CIA representative. So Kongba, after they explained to me that day, sometimes we can sit down and talk. And Kongba wanted to take the map to show to me. Doe said, no, don't show the man our map. The map they used to enter the mansion and find the ammunition and know where to pass. The CIA gave it to them. So this CIA here, these people that you always go to, they're not good people. Me, they know me. They're not good people. CIA, American hegemony. So anyway, they set the soldier up and all these things about the execution. When you imagine the one that Prince Johnson came to you, told you, they set it up for Doe to go in exile in order for Taylor to take over. Why they didn't have anything in Taylor affair, then why they wanted him to take over? He didn't win the war. So they were always in this thing, and as long as they continue to meddle in us, we will have problems. Saying we were slaves and they free us, just let them leave us alone.
Okay. You spoke about your prison days when you were in prison, and you spoke about the conditions there. You gave a very appalling picture of how it was, how people were treated. Now, being the head of your family, like you stated, when you were in prison, how was your family treated? Were they harassed?
My family were afraid. I got native background on people. When a sister Ada came here, none of my brothers came. People were afraid. Every time I get in political trouble, my name all day on the radio, and people are afraid. You see anybody follow me here?
I mean, generally, did they experience, was there any reprisal against them because of you?
No, nobody even know them because they didn't make themselves visible. My family was scared. Kuya got a lot of chapel boy behind him. You see any Kiteabo man here? They are afraid.
You mentioned that when you were arrested and Mr. Wilfred Clark, who was SSS director at the time, was there when you were arrested and they chunk you down the stairs. Was he amongst them? Was he part of that action? In our Justice Department? Yes.
Wilfred Clark was the commander. I walked. They had their security car following me. After the Wilfred Clark was there. But and Wilfred Clark, I think that Tobo sent him. That's why I always say Tobo really didn't have, he had a proper problem, but he's not a bad man. It looked like Tobo sent this man to find out how we were being treated, so he would go and tell him. So when he chunked me downstairs, Wilfred Clark walked with me. He got in his car and he passed on Randall Street, and he met me to the junction of Secretary Avenue and Center Street, because they took me through the Center Street and I walked to prison. And he was there observing. And so he did not, you asked the question whether he took part.
No, I asked the question because you said he was there and then people chunk you downstairs. I just wanted to know whether he was a part of that action.
But he was commander of SSF from the office. Mm-hmm. So I know he there. And he was there, they chunked me down in top.
Okay. At the TRC hearings in the United States, Kolonko Luo also informed us that when Tobo was killed, there were some soldiers along with some officials who went to his estate in Bentor and raided the place. What do you know about this?
Well, I heard about it. We tried to do investigation. Those that might leave it. They took a sum of money. Those were critical days with all this striking, people being shot and this and that. Mm-hmm. The president was planning to go to Zimbabwe. But the arrangement was that they would try us on Monday. he will be going to Zimbabwe that same Monday. And then he will be there. Benny Wonder will act as president and execute the mandate of the court. That was how they fixed it. They wanted to make the same thing on us, but then the thing turned over to them. So they went there, truly they found money there. But as soldier people, you couldn't, they did it on a soldier circle. I understand that Doe were able to get some of the money back, but from them. So they share it. But yes, they took money from Turbo House.
Okay. One of the daughters of the late President
But you see the thing about it, Turbo had it Guillaume man there. And he was the butler to Turbo. I don't know the man name.
Tuazama?
Tuazama, and who said that? Oscar, what that man name?
Mr. Tuazama, Patrick Tuazama.
All right. Tuazama was the butler to Turbo. And he knew everything. So the Guillaume soldier went there, and the Tuazama showed them what to do, where the money was. That's how they got it.
Okay. One of the daughters of President Talbot testified at the TRC hearings in the United States. And she painted a very bleak picture of what happened with them that night, of their fear and what they went through. And she said few days following the coup, she, her mother and sisters, like female families of the late president, were under house arrest. And you and Dr. George Bode went there to see them, and you were with George Bode, Dr. Bode, when he allegedly made a comment that they were going to remain under house arrest under whatever condition until you all decided what would be their fate. Do you remember such, and why weren't they protected? Their father was already killed, their male relatives were rounded up and imprisoned, they were just women, Liberian women. Do you think that perhaps some sympathy could have been extended them?
Yeah, I extended them sympathy. Asked Mrs. Talbot, she wrote letters saying, I asked her to give me $1 million, I would free her. I would do that. She wrote one book. So somebody called me in New York, said, there's a book circulating, you need to write book to understand it. I wrote a book already. I got it to one Liberian journalist. They all talk about Degree 88. The man ate my $100 US deposit. He never wrote a book. And he still got my what you call draft. I need to write a book on this coup, and I will write it. Yes, we put them under protective custody. You do that in government. If there is an affray or discontent in the community, and especially when soldiers were going around killing people, right here, one Cooper, I know him very well, nice looking man, bright, and so forth. He had a house at the end there when you turn it. We were in the office when soldier went there. Killed Mr. Cooper because he didn't rape his wife and his daughter right in front of him and killed him. So we had to put the Turbo family and daughters under protective custody. I am empowered in doing that. I don't remember going with her to George Bode. Well, George Bode probably been there more than once because he was being supported by Turbo. That Turbo's son. In fact, we always say that Turbo's son because his father, Bode, doesn't look like him. You know. So, and he knew those girls. They grew together. He was reared by Turbo. So, if he went there with me and told them that they were being under custody until decision was made, I don't know what decision. I never made decision with him. But it was decided after all these things were going on. People were raping people and this and that, killing people. Some people just got killed. So you go in your house and bow with the man, just shoot you. This is why we decided to put 7 of them on the firing squad down there. And that stopped the nonsense. There is another place for you to come. All kind of people come here, come shooting people. No. So we put them, the same co-martial board that tried Turbo, we send them there. Co-martial board found them guilty for raping and killing and stealing. So we put on the firing squad. That killed the whole thing. Nobody shoot anybody again. Nobody raped nobody. But they were under custody, protective custody. That's what we did for the Turbo family. Okay.
You also spoke fondly of the late President Talbot you stated that he was the most progressive president you think we've had, and you said he was a good man who was caught up in the system. Do you now believe that perhaps he was like, not to be a Shakespearean, but he was one of those maybe tragic heroes?
I didn't get the question.
Okay. My question is, you spoke very fondly of the late President Talbot. You said he was a good man and he meant well, and you didn't think he would have ordered the killing of anybody.
No.
Based upon your own personal experience.
Yeah.
And you were a little emotional when you talk about him, and you talk about especially when he held your hands and put your hand in our right hand, and what have you. Now, from your experience and from what you feel about the late president, do you think he was one of those that perhaps Shakespeare, the famous playwright, would term as a tragic hero?
Yes, I think Talbot really is. All the things that happened, on record, Talbot was influenced by Matt DeShield, Richard Henrys, his brother Frank Talbot. Oh, that a man who say a constitutional man, I didn't stand up like everybody. And so those were the people that were pressuring Talbot to take it. But remember when the man got on the execution stand, he said, I'm bringing I will the cause of these people, these damn people. The man was on the pulio, he was on the, what you call it, execution stand, and he was talking with a hand behind him. I'm bringing Talbot, he was telling the other people in line. The damn country people, I told Talbot, we have to get rid of these people. So you are one of the vigilantes.
Okay.
But if it had come for Talbot alone, I don't know. They say he was soft and he was not strong enough to suppress this thing. And the police going and killing the peaceful march of PPP people. I didn't think it came from Talbot. It came from some circles like Frank Talbot. You deal with those people, and he was president brother, president pro tempore. Yeah, police would take.
All right, this question is a hypothetical one. Do you think then, because you stated earlier that President Talbot was caught up in the system of the TWP, the True Whig Party,
yeah,
and there were some bad people around him who didn't want to see democracy, who wanted to continue to suppress, native Liberians. So do you then think that perhaps the president was in danger from his own system,
yes,
some of his own people, that if the coup didn't happen with the soldiers, they would have probably gotten rid of him anyhow?
I think so. I don't think Talbot was going to win the election. They were going to put in a more critical person. Well, Goodrich wanted to be president. He was vice president, and they fought among themselves against. He wanted to be president. He was I think, chairman of the party at the time, and the man who was vice president, Green. There was a rift. The action. The thing was that they wanted a stronger person than Talbot. I know you were not going to win the election because he didn't. Talbot was very sensitive, and talking with him, he would say, "I know I didn't say so. Oh, it's not right." He would always talk about something not being right. So the system was planning to control the situation. Well, we're not going to sit down here and let current people come and run over this place. And that's how they talk. We're not going to sit down here and let current people run over this place. And I don't know why the country people are not that powerful, say. The chiefs. And they talk about, all right, you're already worried about the execution. Remember after the war in Southtown, I want the PRC to know there have been execution by the True Whig Party. After the Southtown War, in which the settlers won because the American Navy assisted them and supplied them arms, and part of the Negro American took part in fighting the natives in the Southtown War. Their refusal to pay taxes. Government brought them under the jurisdiction of the Liberian government. They brought the chief down for reconciliatory talk. 48 chiefs, they were executed, disarmed and executed and buried right there where you have your central prison. If I ever had the opportunity, I will show you their mass grave. Right in the fence of central prison. Yeah, you're not talking about it. Yet nobody talking about it. They came for the 8 people. But when the 13 people died, because they are miracle Liberian, all of you inflamed talking. You set up PRC to talk about it. See, it's not fair.
Well,
then let us go. Let PRC, saying you're talking history, let PRC go back there and find out what happened to those 48 chiefs that were killed. Then your history will be exhausted. But if you just left uncharted war, the Coup and all that thing, and talk about death, and all that, then you leave it, the history is not complete. Me, I'm coming to write about it.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Cheapoo, but just to say, it's because...
What did you do? You might be clapping.
Okay.
You might be clapping. You don't know what behind it yet. So you must be serious.
Okay. Mr. Witness, thank you for that observation, but it is for this very reason that we are holding this kinds of forum, because we don't know everything that happened, definitely not. And even up until now, some information are still being unveiled to us. So we really appreciate that you could raise this point, and we want to assure you that we do take note of it. I'm just hearing about the execution of those chiefs for the first time. But it's good. This is why it was very important to invite people like you. This is why it was important to invite people like you who can shed light on a lot of the things that happen in our history, so that we on the commission at the end of the day can be able to make the right decision as to how we can move forward as one people. So we really take it in good faith. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam.
Okay, my next question is, sometimes in the mid-1980s, the late President Doe met with some members of the Grand Gedeh Student Association from the University of Liberia. And at that meeting, they discussed a lot of things, including issues of the state. And at that meeting, one of them, I don't remember the exact year, but one of them asked the president, why was it, again, sorry, we're coming back to the 13 officials who were executed. One of them asked the president, why was it necessary to execute the 13 former government officials? He paused for a while, and then he said he didn't know why they had to be executed. Then after a while, he said he thought it was because of jobs. People wanted the jobs that these people were occupying. Can you comment on that? Do you share his view? Or
that was not the answer. The people were already deposed. We had a new government. They already finished dividing the job. So what job you killing them for? You already got a job. But the main thing was that they feared that they will have a counter coup on them. They were too powerful. People got millions of dollars. They knew all over the world. They've been ruling for 100 years. You let ball come from here, then you say you overthrow them. You think you're going to stay here if you keep them here? No way. Different army would have come and drove them out of here. That's why they murdered them, and they didn't consult anybody.
Okay.
Up to the point of going behind Turbo and killing his son.
Mr. Cheapoo, did you have or do you know anything about the formulation of the LPC, the Liberia Peace Council?
Yeah, Sawyer asked me that question. Sawyer called me in the mansion when he was interim government and asked me, called me a dinner. I didn't want to eat that rest that day. I said the man want maybe, but I waited until he caught his own in from the same bowl, and he caught his own rice, and he was eating it, and I caught my part of food too. I didn't eat plenty. Anyway, the water they brought, I didn't drink it. I just ate the rest, and I told the president, thank you, Chairman. He asked me whether I knew about it. I know Doe. I said, yeah, but Doe, our Minister of State Presidential Affairs, a crime man, and my mom people. He said, okay, but, he formed me a group called LPC. I didn't know about it. They didn't include me in that. And if I were in any of the armed group, the matter would be settled definitely and properly and long time. I was not going to have a child stealer coming here fighting people. bringing a war here. Thank God I didn't have a part to do with it. I was not a member of it. Well, let me tell you now, from the Upper Daily incident and in the Crown people got afraid of me. I used to go to their meeting, they don't even call me now. So I'm from River G, and they got afraid of me. Because the time I was a young man, if mama, you do it, I walk over you. You're supposed to do it. I had no mercy for wrongdoers. So they're not supposed to do the thing they did. I don't know if I fully answered your question.
Yes, you did.
All right.
Thank you. You inform us that you are the foster son of the late Joseph Chessin. And from what you explained, you had a very good family relationship with the family. You even said that you didn't think he would have caused you any harm or intentionally caused you any harm.
Yeah, you always ask about me.
Yeah, but thank God you came to help clarify a lot of the corridor gossip and allegations that have been going around unsubstantiated. So I would just ask you one more for the sake of clarification. Again, it's been rumored for the longest that when you became Justice Minister and when Mr. Chessin and others were in prison, you either sent for him or went to him and told him that in his face that you are now Justice Minister and he will remain in jail. Was that any time did you ever meet with these people while they were in prison before they were executed?
I could not have gone to Papa. Papa, not big man, taller than me almost. I'm saying almost. Anytime I stand before Papa, he way over me and he was a big man. I would go to Papa. I was scared of the man. I could not have gone back to that man to tell him what in jail. I did not do that. I was scared of the man. In fact, I think that I remember one morning I went to Postake. At the time, the prisoners were outside, and the soldier had them looking in the sun. So I told the soldier, I said, well, why is this here now? What is the punishment for them looking in the sun? Papa got up and wanted to grab my neck. The soldier had to stop him. That was the interaction I had with him when I was in Coup. So therefore, I didn't go to the barrack to the place the animal.
Was there anything you could have done to maybe secure his life or help the other officials who were there? Prior to the execution.
Well, Papa was the same thing I am in the PRC. He was so engrossed there. There was no way you could separate him. He just the same. Some of the things I do in the court and other things I learned from Chessin. The man was dynamic, and he was not going to compromise. There was no way. If you may as well set Tobo free if you're going to set Chessin free. So he would not have gotten by.
Okay.
Now, if you talk about Robert Neal, the other minister, Cecil Danny, there's number for Chessin. Chessin was just like Tobo. He was the justice minister. He the one who sent the police in the street to kill the people. That was his police. He never launched any investigation. And Chessin could have done that, but he didn't do it. So he was biased. My power was biased. So he could not have been free. There's nothing. If I did that, I would be committing treason. To go talk for Chessin? No way.
My last question. I mentioned before Colonel Gerbo, and you started talking about him, but then you went to something else. Can you tell us a little bit about what you know about him, what happened between he and Doe, and I think he was killed or executed or something like that?
Yeah, I know the CIA, the American government, will not like it. If they didn't like it, let them put on the radio and disassociate themselves. I will reveal more facts as Minister of Justice. I know why I'm talking. There were two groups to stage the coup. And American people there was your friend there who said they let you get it. What they say? They cancel all the dead, eh? But they cancel the dead, and few weeks they say we owe them another money. So I was wondering what kind of debt they cancel all the millions, then we owe them another money again. So they had two groups here to stage the coup. The coup was staged by CIA, white people. In Ajadodo, Mrs. Tobo told me point blank, the person who killed me, that white man, the person who shot my husband, that white man. And the instance in which they killed the president was this. The president was in his room, and Mrs. Tobo was in her room with the children. When the people were knocking the door for him to open and fire, they started shooting, Tobo got concerned. So he left his wife's room with the children and wanted to take the side door to get outside the room, maybe to find escape or something like that. He was met, and Mrs. Tobo was right behind him. So she said, the person who shot my husband, there are not these people here, we were talking about Doe then. He said, a white man shot my husband. She always said that. That white people killed President Tobo. Doe then was just enjoying the name. She said, the man who shot her husband was a white man. Not these people, which mean Doe then, who going around and say they can make coup. They're not them. This was organized as an international plot. But I don't know why they want to make such a plot like that, because it didn't help us at all.
But what was the role of Colonel Webbo? How did he come into the picture?
All right, Colonel Webbo, I said they organized two versions. Doe and his group were trained, they were trained by Americans. Doe and his group were trained at the Tokman military camp near the rubber farm here. How they call it, Todi. And Colonel Webbo was trained in Todi. Doe then were trained in shuffling by the CIA, special squad. They were trained there. And Colonel Webbo, he was a good army man, they call him a ranger. He went to the military school at West Point. He had his group over there. But Doe then being in what they played in right here to the shuffling, they looked at it, they were not too far. And the way it happened was that Tobo got the information that there was something going on. That's why he wanted to leave the country. After when we were to be tried on the 13th, he was to leave the country because he thought something was going on. So the king had this thing here at the Sangana party. They said that was the party for us, for our something about our that True Whig Party thing what they had in that building, where somebody will take over because now they're building again. They did it for us, and they dispersed. Tobo was supposed to leave and all that kind of stuff, but they didn't have time enough to leave when this thing occurred. They were supposed to leave, like we were supposed to be tried on the 13th. It looked like maybe Tobo was preparing to leave something like probably on the 10th or something like that. That's why they found so much money in his house where he was going, and Benny Warner was supposed to be vice president. So it happened that Webbo's group did not stage the coup. They lived a bit too far from Monrovia. So Doe then were able to come and do the work. But Mrs. Tobo said the person who killed her husband, who shot her husband, were not these people, it was a white man. The white people I know that I can work with y'all, that they are Americans. They ain't not different white people. Because when the Russian people came here after the coup, we refused to deal with them. It was the Americans who had all the CIA. I told you I had American men working with me in the Justice Department. They are part and parcel of all these things were going on. They're talking about human rights. They're the ones spoiling our society. They were here for 100 years. They could have made Liberia a big country. They sit down, new country coming around, they took all our land. They couldn't defend us. The only thing they did was to take part in the Southern War. They brought people to fight the native people. That was a civil war. They didn't have to intervene. So I got problem with your America. I know that your America or our America. So
thank you very much.
Webbo became, and what? Let me tell you what happened. Because I was chairman of John Security. Sorry. We found out that Webbo was planning a counter coup, and he had left the Todi barrack and he was hiding in the bush. His soldier that was being trained with him had dispersed. When they assembled and wanted to stay a counter coup, they were not able to do it. And so some of them left Jabo. And so Jabo was in the bush there, and then the PRC people decided to look for him because they planned a counter coup. That's how they got Jabo. And he didn't, I don't know whether he didn't know how to swim. He was crossing some kind of water, I don't know, like St. Paul River or something like that. And he got caught. Well, he was not a good ranger. Because if I know I want to make counter coup, I should understand that I will be sought after. And I was not going to be traveling alone. And I won't be swimming broad day for people to see me. I will cross this river at night time. That's what soldiers do. So I don't think he was a ranger, but the people say he was a ranger. That's why they got rid of him, because he planned a counter coup.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. I can go now?
We got 2 more. No, sir.
Yes, sir.
No, not yet, please.
Oh, all right.
We still have 2 other commissioners.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Maybe we'll ask them to be a little brief with you.
Yeah, okay, I'll be happy. I mean, but they can, no, let the commissioner do a work.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Councillor Cheapoo. Spending so much time and providing so much insight into a lot of things that many of us have been curious about. Perhaps I should start by calling your attention to 1 or 2 corrections. He said you shall be tried on the 13th. And the 13th will be on Sunday, so I suppose that you would have been tried on the 14th.
Yes, I think so, a day before.
All right.
That's true. I miscalculated the days. But the coup was staged few days before we were to be taken to court. They were tried before, so we never went to court.
Yeah, the coup occurred on a Saturday, April 12th.
Okay.
The Sunday was the 13th, so
Okay.
I suppose that the 14th had been a Monday.
Yeah, okay.
Now, most of my colleagues have asked you quite a number of questions, and in a lot of ways, some of the questions I would have asked you. But there's something I would just like for you to throw some light on. Firstly, during our hearings in the States, the daughter of President Talbot, as my colleague mentioned, claimed that you were responsible for according shabby treatment to her and some family members. Can you comment on that?
I don't know. I can't remember. Under what circumstances can you throw light on that?
She said this was in the aftermath of the coup. I refer specifically to Dr. Holder, Wilhelmina Talbot Holder.
Mm-hmm.
Said that she and surviving family members, I think including her mother, were accorded very shabby treatment.
Shabby treatment, what do you mean by that?
Very poor treatment.
Huh?
Very poor treatment.
What kind of treatment that prisoner get? When their father put me in jail, I was beaten and put in starvation. What kind of poor treatment she wanted? We didn't jail her, we put her on a house arrest for their own security reason because people were raping and killing people. You call that shadow treatment? I saved her life, she better be happy. What?
Now you spoke about being imprisoned prior to the coup, and you briefly talked about prison conditions. Now I would just like for you to go over that again. how were prison conditions during the reign of President Talbot prior to the coup? We have had other witnesses who have come forward and testified to prison conditions after the coup, all the way up to the regime of former President Taylor. But can you tell us a bit, just a little bit, throw some light? How was the condition in prison?
Yeah, well, we had.
What was your routine like?
Okay.
What was the rite of passage for entering the post-stacket? What kind of treatment did you receive, and what was it like?
Very terrible, despotic, and unbearable. And I don't think that government should have organized itself to put people in solitary confinement who have not been found guilty. They're only accused. But we were already condemned to death. Like I told you, the man who visited my late father always told me that your father said, if anybody get free, you will not get free, threatening me with death like that every day. But I don't blame Papa for that. I know Chesson tricky. Chesson was doing that to get information. Maybe he didn't want somebody going to the president and say, oh, the justice minister got connection with the people. Maybe he didn't want that. So he asked about me, and then, you know, and make some kind of threatening statement which he never enforced. The prison condition were bad. We slept on the floor. The toilet was only one, and they keep people in solitary confinement.
But how many of you were detained at the time?
Oh, we were over. We had queer high. I don't know how many. But I alone, back on high own cell. I was in cell number 17. Huh? Yeah, with a couple of boys. So you had a good time. You used to talk and laugh. I know you were coming here. I know it. And there were no food. Now you talking about the prison, there was no visitation for us. They never allow anybody. The spray I talk about that I left in jail. Mamusun had to give it to a soldier who brought it several times before it got to me. Get it spread to the soldier, and the soldier will bring it to the gate. They will refuse it. It took long before that spread got to me. Nobody visited us, no lawyer, no family member, nobody. Anytime they open your cell in the morning and take your hanger off, it means they're going to beat you. No breakfast. You all go there 6 o'clock, they will beat you. Then they put you inside.
Can you remember? Do you remember who the commander was?
Yeah, I just called his name a while ago. Kepa. He's a Kepama man. Short and bright. He was a Congo man, really. I don't know when people bright then they Congo, eh? Anyway. All right.
Now,
so the condition was horrible. And people were treated like, we were charged with crime, even though it was a capital crime. But we were not yet being tried, we were not convicted. There was just an accusation. It had not been proven in the court of law. But we were treated as convicted prisoners. They were beating us. They were not waiting for trial. They were starving us. They stopped people from seeing us. We had no legal representation. The condition of prison was bad. And the post-stacket, there's no way, no sanitation. In fact, if we start getting sick, as for me, I always get malaria. That's my big sickness. So they used to take me, they had a place there where I used to go to take injection. Can you take injection on empty stomach? I used to take injection on empty stomach. You ate 3 o'clock yesterday. And I came from a home where we had good food. So when you give me dry rice, I will eat it. I was a civilized boy. And I caught hard time. You know, I couldn't eat the food. Then I'm sick, I gotta go take. The prison condition was very bad. So what I did as Minister of Justice, even there were no beds, toilets. They were not even kept. Every Saturday they come and make us come out and clean our own toilet. There was nobody there to, maintain sanitary condition. all during the week, as the week goes to the high number of the days, the whole place would smell, because everybody in there got their feces in the cup, and the place was a prison, so it was not no ventilation there, so they didn't even consider health matters, and these were civilized people. Now, in the post-Take there, and they were beating people in jail who were merely accused. Now, if they had convicted us and put us in jail as convicted felon, and the court asked that we should take what you call capital punishment, close to death, and they beat us, I don't understand. But you just you accuse me of doing something, you don't try me in the court, then you beating me. So they were punishing us, and we were willing. For me, I know. I say one night they would just come. So I used to be scared when they try to open my gate. I don't know what you will do with me. So things were bad. Central prison, the same thing. They put people in jail, no lawyer. They keep you there alone. And nobody will ask you. You don't have no lawyer to protect you. There was no food. If your people, you don't have anybody to care you, to care food to you, I think you will die of hunger. That's why our jailhouse got their own government. The jailhouses, they got government inside there. When you reach there, you pay fee $1, and then they give you a job. And the president in the jailhouse got security guards. When anything come there good, if people bring you money, somebody come visit you, when they leave, you're supposed to report to president how much money they bring you, and you take their own. If you don't do it, they will beat you and take the money from you, and nobody will ask. When prisoners are fighting, the guards don't go there to know what it's not their business.
So
what I did, I carried mattresses to post-Take, I fixed the doors, I built another toilet. Then I went to what the place name? The Central Prison. I did the same thing there. I put mattresses there for them. I fixed the toilets. I separated the women from the men. Your majority imagine rather women, and most active women are usually beautiful. You take them and put them with criminals. And in Liberian prison, they have 2 cells for murderers. The murderers or the thieves or all kind of people, they're all in one cell, in one house. So anything can happen. So they used to suppress the women. Then later on, we decided to separate that. Put the women, now if you go to Central Prison, they got women jail. Only women there. Even though they got their own government. So we separated them, provide mattresses. And then we begin to feed the prisoners. This whole thing about people bringing food for you. Half of the time they bring food to us from post-Take, they didn't reach us. They eat it. And after 6 o'clock, nobody will bring food. And we came from poor families and poor background. Our people were afraid. Government of Liberia in those days got somebody in jail in the soldier camp. Our poor people didn't go there. So they struggled for food. Sister Ada was in town here, and she didn't have any job. If her husband later on followed her, so he became a carpenter. This was a acting paramount chief. When he retired, he followed his wife here, and he became carpenter by force. So when they cook my food, it's late. But if they bring it before we leave the outside walking around, I will not get the food. So many times I didn't eat. So the conditions were bad. I tried to straighten those conditions when I was there as Minister of Justice, and I started feeding them. I know that someone told me that I think the prison compound is still feeding people.
Now, when the commission traveled for public hearings around the country, as one of the commissioners mentioned, we did hold hearings in River G. And as part of our work, we tried to look at conflicts and conflictual situations around the country and find out what the root causes are and what impact or bearing they may have on our present crisis and advance recommendations. And during our time in Grand Gedeh, in River G, it was brought to our attention that the very instance that was mentioned by one of our colleagues concerning the people of Kiteabo at Webbo, where they had the plywood factory, we visited there. And as a matter of fact, we got there a few days or a few weeks or so after the factory had been burned. But there were accusations that there was a problem between the people of Kiteabo and yourself vis-a-vis the purchase of the land and the holding of the title. And their contention was that rather than entrusting, or rather than making the people of Kiteabo trustees toward the document, you had made yourself and your family as trustees, and the people of Kiteabo were, in effect, had become dispossessed of the land which they were supposed to be owning in fee simple. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, I'll comment on that. That's a lie. I'm blaming those native people. I will leave my part chasing her and go to those people. I'm not supposed to go there, say. I know people who come from those country people play. When you get educated, you become enemy because you must beat at them. Walk 10 feet on the ground, don't go hospital, marry several wives you can't support. I'm not subscribing to that. I'm blaming them and getting deed. That's what they're talking. They should be poached, other people there, and all the land belong to government. If I had not taken my education and my patriotism for my tribe, they wouldn't be talking that. I don't blame them. I will bring a copy of the deed for the Kiteabo people tomorrow, so you can see. It's written in Kiteabo Chief Dom name. It's not me. That Wilson prepared that deed, not me. The only thing I did was to redeem it. So all that thing they're talking is nonsense. We suppose, here you made that place, you see, we Kiteabo people ate more than $3 million. They didn't do any development. The school that they named in my honor, I built that school when I was senator. When Abba White went there, set up that school. Came here, got a Ministry of Education to put a school. They didn't have school in their tribe. They don't like education. Since I finished college, some of the Kiteabo people from Cloudtown who go in school, they ain't even graduate yet. And I'm getting old. So that's the background. You know what they want to do? When we had the investigation, the FDA said that land is part and parcel of the National Gribble Forest. We conducted an investigation 7 years. Bolly Holder when he was Minister of Justice. In fact, finally, they told Bolly Holder to handle the mansion when he went to the mansion or working there. So the matter just rested there. Do you know that those same Kiteabo who talking about deed business, they wrote over, I want to sell their land, that nobody, no tribe in the country, they were in the bush, they didn't even know civilized custom. They were talking about no tribe in the country got law. Yeah, people, other tribe got deed. You buy because you backward, so you don't know what. Then they said no tribe got deed, people want to sell our land, this is why he said we got deed. The deed was signed by William V. Stockman. They have a deed in Kiteabo Chief Dom name. Now, native man who doesn't know how to manage his own house, look at their houses. They live in mud houses, no doors, no scientific, no sanitary conditions. You go right behind your house, then you toilet there. That's what they're doing. Can they manage land? The reason why we invested money, because it's an investment to uplift the tribe. Like I said before, they will go to the companies and take the money without any reference to me. Do they look at somebody who is able to manage it? Or during the war, they went there and took money from there. When they don't do then the government come in and find them, then they will go to the company and get money from there to pay the tax. That was not why we got the deed. And they have not been able to pay me. We had a contract. And they agreed. Those other people who there in that place talking, they were not even the elders that I dealt with. All of the elders that I dealt with, all of them are dead. You know why they die? They go and involve themselves into sorceries witchcraft, carry my name to other tribe. We want you to kill Cheapoo. When they bring the witch and plan it, they die, not me. All of the people who sat down and thought they deep in them when I brought it and say, the man who was the speaker, what the man who said, well, the tribe told me they didn't have money to pay, go and get somebody or a company to redeem the deed from that wasting because we don't want our deed to be over there so they can't claim it later on. But the person will eat as we eat. And he will manage the land because the person will be the one who know better, who know book. So when they took over, they started eating the money. They still eating it today. I didn't get my money to burn the factory. That the people I'm a main trustee. Then okay, I want this PRC to get involved in this matter. The only thing I want the Kiteabo to do, let them pay me my $1.8 million they owe me. I will give them their deed. I will not even go in their tribe. I don't get to men say the way I stand here, I look at myself. I civil Liberian man, I'm not supposed to really be worried with country people anyway. But I took my time to do that. Let them, and I want TRC to be involved. No problem. I got the D, I can show the evidence. They never had D until I left school, until I paid the money to that Wilson. I took the D to them. I told them about the D. I negotiated, I passed the word and took the English for them as a student. And when I came from school, I got the D. And I took it to them. And the D is in their name. Based upon their, I told country people supposed to be people of the word. But they kind of people in there, they're not real country people say. Because they ain't got word. They will go and misuse the money. They don't have a D for you to do what your own right. You're supposed to make the farm. They don't make farms. They go to the people and they get paid. They take the money and use it for their own ends. Those people like Joe Benson, I know they're the one we're talking. Let them bring my money. The money I paid to redeem the land, $175,000 plus $175,000 for surveying fee, plus 10% interest from 1976 to now. Yeah, that what we're doing business, my people. You know I'm not going to invest money without interest. I will get them their deed today. Even if the PRC tell me I'm going to bring the deed and bring all the documents, the trust agreement to you, I will do that. I ain't got nothing to hide. No. If I were corrupt, I won't even be here, sir.
So from these comments,
So that thing what they're doing, that's why when we come from that country and we get educated, people get educated, they don't go back. Because the fact that you are educated, you are sponty an enemy. And I marry a foreign woman. I don't even speak their dialect. I don't sleep in the same bed they sleep in. I don't drink their water. When I go, I always carry my own water. Because in the conflict, one old lady told me at night, she came to me, and God always helped me, the women had some kind of confidence in me. The old lady told me, she said, well, look, they think that you and Kiteabo, this conflict started a long time. I said, they might not eat it here, bring it up. I started sitting down and okay, it's all right, it's all right. The conflict started long ago since I left the Supreme Court. I arrested some equipment to tell you how they've been vandalizing the money. I left the equipment here. We were doing investigation. Mr. Gray told me, Doe, Nicholas Podia, and other PRC members have meeting in the mansion to get rid of me. So he told me to leave the country. So I just abandoned the country and went to Ivory Coast. First I went to the States. Now let's stay in America. Because when I was there, we were with those girls in the school. Now I go there, I'm on my own. I'm lucky. So I'm let to be in America, so I came home. I was in Ivory Coast there. They vandalized the money. They even during the war, they told Taylor I was bringing war. So they didn't do nothing for me. They don't give me any money. This conflict started since that time. And it's still abating. When I came after this war, I went to Grand Gedeh and got the government, the local government, the superintendent, Mr. Chea, and the chiefs and other people to make reconciliation. If you say I'm wrong, I did this. No, I was talking about how they brought me to court. So when I came, when Doe brought me, Remember that time they say I took machine, bulldozer, they truck across down Kavala River. Kavala River low is somewhere where you cross truck. Kavala River is a deep river. It moves swiftly. And when it's full, you better not carry your canoe there. There's time for you to cross it, otherwise they will carry you. And they got a lot of falls. I will go carry the machine there to go cross. They say I'll carry a machine over there. So, but anyway, when I came back, they took me to court. I won the case. I asked for I went home. I said, okay, where are those machines that y'all had here that we caught? And FDA gave it to us because the people, the logging company were not able to pay us. Where are the machines? They sold the bulldozers. They sold the power plants. They sold everything. And they don't have anything, nothing to show. The school, Chea Elementary School, it's still mud house. I built it when I was in the Senate. They have not built it. In fact, they came to a Ministry of Education, they want to move my name from there. Show me any of the children of my contemporary life that have done anything for them. I did more for them, and I think I will be the last man because when they treating me, no other educator can tell me. My children, my son is now in Saudi Arabia. He's not even coming to go. He's not can tell me, the American woman's son. So we're not even go there. But what I'm saying, fine. If they have problem with me, I give them money and reconcile with them. That's what civilized people should do. Religious people, that's what they're supposed to do. And we had the investigation. They didn't have anything to show me. When I asked for that money, they are eating the money. Then they told the boys in Claratown, they just come from Kiteabo. They live in Claratown. They don't attend school. They got no jobs. They are the people over there. They call their people. We sacked Cheapoo now on ERWA radio in the dialect. We got him now, so we must go sue him. So they went and sue me for $300. I still got the newspaper. I will let the TRC see it. Where they say I ate $300,000. They saying Kiteabo people. Countryman, when you educate her, be careful with him. He's not your fellow citizen. Your fellow citizens are in Monrovia and in the county's headquarters. Not those people. They're very dangerous. And that's why we don't win election. When I was running for Senate, they go in election. They say, Cheapoo, we know you. Oh, I will not know you. But the thing here now is what we will eat now. We want something to eat now because the time will come, we will die. And so we want something to eat. So the people who get them money, who stole money from LPRC and all kind of things, they bribe them. But they're not getting the representation. All right. So we made peace in that county investigation of all the chiefs to tell them really what I have done. They didn't have anything to say. They say, okay, Cheapoo Torso will go the way the native people do. You can't win your power. All right. Well, let me talk about that case. Right there in the criminal code A, they took me to court. When I came from up country, I heard them meet this thing that they were suing me. So I went up country for all the talking. I met them in Zwedru. All the elders, including the high priest. Under the law, the high priest of Kiteabo does not cross water. He doesn't sleep out of the tribe. This high priest now, because he been getting money now, getting D. Oh, he had a car called Jekle, which means hard time car. He got girlfriend from Kiteabo all the way to Kipamas on the road. He used to sleep out. When we did the investigation, I gave the Kiteabo money. I said, okay, son, I can't win you're my pa and ma, and son can't win father. I'm sorry for whatever happened. I gave them money. I'm sorry. I gave the women money. I gave the student money. I gave the government official who did the investigation, I gave them money. Then I killed cow. They told me to kill a cow. I said I will kill it December. They said no, do it July. So I came Monrovia, I scrambled around. Here is a man who left government long time. He ain't got no job. My practice is small. But I wrapped around and I was able to get the money. I bought the cow in Zwedru because they don't have cows to their home. I put it in the picker and carry it. And you call them to eat the cow. Only to refuse, say they don't want to eat the cow. So the high priest told me, Cheapoo, we will eat the cow in Tawaken. If I eat it, then they eat it. The high priest they ate the cow. Me, I didn't eat it because I know that ritual, that kind of ritual. They went to the center and be calling all the mountains and all the, that's not my God. My God doesn't live in mountains. So I didn't ascribe to that as Assembly of God man. So they did all their calling and they asked me to make a statement and they say we join together. I still carry on my job. After I left from there, the problem come back. Now, they took me to this court. The Lebanese people, that man who got a fishing company, West African Fishing Company, that the man who paid me the money when I surveyed the land. His name is Mark Burr. He's a short Lebanese, he's not here now. He's rich because he's all right. And they told me that I ate their money. So they tried, they called the Lebanese people after I told them I didn't eat no money, I was not even here. So they called the Lebanese people and they brought record where Joe Benson signed, Teacher Cooper signed, and one or other person, there are three of them. That Joe Benson, that Teacher Cooper, that what the other person name said. You not play which I can't remember his name. All right. They signed and withdrew 250,000. Just imagine, country people in the bush there, they're not doing anything, they're walking 10 toes. They will eat $250,000 US, and they got no account for it. They sold the equipment and converted the money to their own use. Then they will have the audacity to sue me, say, I stole their money. So I want them in the court. So the judge was saying, even if Cheapoo eat the money, send Cheapoo, you say Cheapoo the one who got this deed and did the redemption. If he eat the money, what the Carlton people, the man who I put in school, he's dead now, one Mr. Bally. He said, you will pay every bit of it. I said, I don't blame you, I educated you. That's why he can talk. He came to me in his wedding when I was there and said, my father just died as chief because they say he wished and I ain't got nobody. I gave him my bookstore, my rice mill, and came to Monrovia. He's in Monrovia now. When he came, our Minister of Justice put in NSA. He was able to buy land and build a house in Claratown. He is my chief enemy. That's how Kiteabo people are. I want them in that case. They put them in jail because they couldn't file bond. The very Claratown people who told them, say, we finished catching Cheapoo, you're not Chief Justice again, when the woman asked for bond, because they ate the money, they confessed that they ate the money. They said, we don't have any money to file bond. And that you ate the money, then we be talking here. They left the old people, and then they took the people to, all the elders, including the Bodio. He's not supposed to come here. He went there, he came here, and they put all of them in jail. I went there the next day to Judge Mazou, that lady, Bassa lady, she was the judge, Judge Mazou, criminal code A. I said, well, Judge, these people are my people. I want to release them. He said, oh, Councillor, you Chief Justice, you know defendant, you will find bond for plaintiff. That's not the law, you know that. I can't make you file bond. So because I didn't file bond, they were in jail and the war met them there. When they freed them, they went to Claratown, they were not able to feed the people. Then they began to blame each other. So a lot of them died. They said, I didn't want to kill them. I brought them to court. I did not bring them to court. They sued me in the criminal court. The record's supposed to be there.
Okay.
And the case won them. Now, they don't want to compromise. The only thing I would say to PRC and to these fellow Liberians, I even want big Kiteabo men say. From today, I'm not Kiteabo men. What I want them to do is to pay the $175,000 a month survey fee for sleeping in the bush for 3 months, where they themselves were not able to do it. They didn't have the approbation to even follow me. Some old people should have said, people will accompany you. Remember when I surveyed that land, I was already big man in this place. I had to go and survey their land. That's my pay, spoiling my name. Anytime people go do different in the care Cheapoo name. Recently they sold the land to some kind of group for 100-year lease. Under the law, when you make a lease contract that you will not survive, that is tantamount to a conveyance. That lease contract becomes a fee simple deed. So I went to court and block it. I didn't make that land, they didn't pay me yet. I was supposed to eat when you are eating. And when you want to sell the land, let me know so I can get my share. You pay my debt. So the matter is in the circuit court now, in the probate court. I stopped them from selling the land. I told the people, look, you are American woman. You know woman who is president here. If she always going to America, if he came to the man, to the woman and say, I want land to do education, do education, President Ellen will give you free land. But you go to my people and you talk to me here in Monrovia, then you left me some uneducated people in Claratown, unemployed people, and they will take you there. They told one of Taylor fighter, they go down there. I stop it. I am not the problem. Why we are doing this? They burn the factory. If they say it for them, and why did they burn it? I went to Dreadful when they were having a trial. The man said he was sent by the tribal leader to burn the factory. They denied that. The man now is in Dreadful prison. What they are saying, fine. I don't want to be bothered with the people land business. PRC, please get involved. Let them pay my expenses and my debt they owe me. Then I will not go to their tribe before taking it. That's all I got to say.
Okay, in the same River G, looking at conflicts, the commission was able to visit Glaro Yuba, where there was a massacre committed allegedly by the MPFL. And talking to the people of Glaro, you have mentioned that your mother is from Glaro.
Yeah.
And that your mother is Crown.
Yeah.
Now, while in Glaro, we received impressions that the Glaro people are not treated kindly by the people of Kiteabo, because the people of Kiteabo say that the people of Glaro are Crowns, and the people of Glaro say that they are a sub-tribe of the Gribble tribe, that they are Gribbles, and the Crowns do not recognize them as Crowns, and because of that, the people have been subjected to a lot of problems. The town was burned, people were killed, and all of that. And coming from you, that your mother is from Glaro and that she's Crown, I wonder how that position of yours reinforces the kind of impression that we receive that there's a problem there in Glaro, that they are rejected by the people of Kiteabo and other subgroups of the Gribble on grounds that they are not Gribble, and at the same time, the Crowns are saying that they are not Crowns. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, and my mom people not straight. And I told you my grandfather killed a hero. They're still fighting over land. I remember my mother's uncle, Paramount Chief Tia, whose son are emanated coming to Monrovia. They didn't treat my people well. I was there myself. They will go to Kiteabo when Paramount Chief Tia was there, and he was very strong. He served there during his lifetime. And he was True Whig Party leader on the eastern half of the country. They will go to Kiteabo and collect their hot tax. They will not collect tax from Glaro. When the tax is taken to Webbo District number 1 and is not sufficient, they will not go to Glaro to collect the residue that is not there to make it to correct the tax. They will stop only to Kiteabo, my own aisle, and collect the taxes from Kiteabo. They had a Kiteabo Glaro chiefdom, and they've been having that problem from my grandfather's time up to now. So now they divided the chiefdom, the two chiefdom. Kiteabo people got their own chiefdom, the Glaro people got their own chiefdom. They got their own. Now they have a district, Glaro district. And you know, if Glaro people say they're not Crown, they lie. Glaro people are like Crown people. When somebody does something, we the Crown people, if I were to be a member of my mother's tribe, they are truly Crown people. When you do something, you kill elephant or you kill the leopard, Or you kill a bigger animal that devoured the farm and eating rice and all of that. They have a man singing on you. Wedio, Antayo, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's how black people sing. And that's Crown people. They will be calling your father's name, your great mother's name, the great name in your family, how you stood, how you are a magic hunter. Kiteabo don't do that. Kiteabo are grow people. In Kiteabo, that's why they have problem with me. Nobody is important. Everybody is supposed to be poor. And there's a rule in Kiteabo. When you got plenty children, you're not supposed to have plenty food. When you have plenty food, you're not supposed to have children. They will make your wife barren. But Crown people are not like that. If they know you can produce food, they will sing to you. Call meeting, sing. And you get them their food. They will serve you. But they're different from the Grebo. And so there's a political rift. It's far from. If the Crown people were the ones fighting, when Doe was there, there were Crown people that controlled the army. Then how come now, when the people come and fighting, MPFL come to crush Crown people, and they say they have one Nimba man in town here, he was responsible for killing them. They're not Kiteabo people. Now, they should have mustered their Crown support and make sure they defend themselves.
But they claim that
Kiteabo were so weak, they couldn't do anything because they also suffered in the war.
They claim that the areas were burned by fighters from the Grand Gedeh side who are supposed to be Crown.
Yeah, but then why you bring Kiteabo people who from the Grebo side?
But it's as according to what they say is that they are detested by both sides, and although they are Grebos, but the Kiteabo people claim that they are Crown, and the Crown people claim that they are not Crown. No, and they have suffered as a result. The towns are burned, and there's still a smoldering conflict in the area. No. So how would you propose that this conflict be addressed?
Well, I think the Glara people should first identify themselves. What side are they on? Then they should tell. Nobody's able to tell you are a Liberian. You know you are a Liberian. If I stand here this afternoon, I go walk outside, then somebody tell me I'm a foreigner, I will just pass by him because he know what he's talking. I'm a citizen, a prominent citizen. President Ellen told Refugees Assembly when she got the office, and we went there to tell her congratulations. Somebody got her, Mr. Cheapoo, our senior citizen. Ellen said, no, he's one of the prominent senior citizens of Refugee. He's not just a citizen. What's wrong with y'all? So the Crown people, they know they are Crown. Why don't they behave like Crown people? And they don't want to be Crown, they don't want to be Grebo, so what are they? But the war that was being fought, it was fought between the Crown and Taylor. And they were fighting on the side of Doe. So when Taylor people took over and ransacked the country, Taylor people burned their houses. They're not Kiteabo people. Kiteabo were not involved. The only thing people Kiteabo people used to do when it's the time, what the man named, Judge, Mr. What a man named Fawad. He had a plywood factory there. They were fighting all the way to the time when Taylor was asked to leave. So they had money. All they did was to eat our money and sit there. Kiteabo were not able to fight. Said when we saw them, said the little people who can fight. They are lazy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Cheapoo, for your elaborate presentation to us. I've been very inspired in certain ways by the way in which you spoke your heart. I hope you don't mind that we can continue our questioning to get more clarification. I have a few I would like to add. For example, you mentioned earlier that the root motivation for you to leave the True Whig Party and join the PAL to overthrow or to seek to change the government, rather, was not so much altruism, but more linked to a sort of resentment and an interest that you had because of the way they had treated you. So I was wondering, could this kind of heart in the liberation movement of our country be connected to the reason why we have had general failure in transforming our governments over the past 20-something years? I would just like, if you have an opinion on that, maybe, direct and short. Okay. So generally, because your part we understand, you clearly express your heart and there's no problem. But I'm wondering, because to have a revolution of change, you would expect that the leaders would have something altruistic in their minds and heart for the future of their country. And therefore, when the change comes, no matter how it would come, there would be a substantial change in the society. But in Liberia, we see a lot of liberation fighting and bloodshed and destruction, but at the end, no real change. We have 2-3 governments that have been elected and considered free and fair in the election process, even though there's a debate about the reality of that. But at the end, we still see continual fighting and dispute. So that's why I was wondering whether it could be linked somehow to the fact that there was a lack of an altruistic vision behind our so-called liberation struggle. And you being one of the fathers of this vision, I just wanted to ask you what you thought about it.
Our vision was to have a democratic process. Hello? Our vision for the country was to have a democratic process in which there are more than one party. And that the power in the country, governmental power, should not be controlled by a clique of people or a tribe or a certain facet of the society. So we wanted a popular government that is ruled by, in which all record life, women as well participate. This was the dream. And I think the election of a woman as president is one of the achievements of those dreams. Yes, what happened is that we are an elite, foreign-minded class of people. All the government officials that visit America, visit Europe, attending to state things, they see how the country is built, how people who got money live better lives, how they can do this. If the government is not able to give it to you through your salary, your meager salary, there's a tendency for you to amass wealth at the expense of the people. That's one reason why we have not democratized our economic empowerment to the citizens. Everybody want to do their own thing because they want to fill their pockets. They want to be the government official in America and in Europe. Senators want to be like the laws in London, So they go there, they try to get that money. And if you don't have economic power, somebody testified here yesterday that there was a time here, I think Dr. Chipote, when we had economic growth. But they say economic growth without development. The money was being siphoned out of the country in the hands of those who have power. It appeared to me in your country that whenever your Liberian citizen of any group take over, they do the same thing that they say the American Liberian were doing. The soldiers did the same thing. Even people who were in all the council, the other liberation council and interim government, I heard people talk about, people buying houses abroad, people from presidential power buying house. You don't buy a house in Liberia, you go buy a house in America. And that same thing going on. That greed for wealth is one of our problems. That's why I made a recommendation that government must take care of its own people.
Okay.
Yes, do the development. Borrow money to do something on the ground, not borrow money and divide it. As long as the quest for wealth is in our mind or our minds, graft and corruption, and the government is not able to pay people on the level for them to build a better standard of life, we're going to have this problem. And that has been the greed. Greed has been the thing why we haven't developed anything. When people get in office, they want to take money, they don't worry about policy, and there is a tendency here in Liberia. When you're inside, that you business on what they're doing, whatever the president does, that president business, that you do it, try to get your money and get out of there.
Okay, thank you. You seem to have answered it. That is true, that selfishness and resentment has been the root factor. Next one I was concerned about, at any time, because you did confess that PPP did not have any military concern. They wanted a non-violent approach to changing the system. But the thought comes to my mind, did at any time the leaders contemplate the possibility of violence erupting, especially after the Rice Riot incident? And therefore, what was the thinking to avert the total breakdown of this society? Was there any strategy of that? Or was it just, we don't care, we just want to get a change?
It's not so, Commissioner.
No, I'm just trying to understand.
Change has to have definition. And I told you in many words what is it that the change of government and the new democratic process entails. I told you that.
Yeah, I heard that.
We needed, government should be paying salaries that will pay for the living condition of those who serve in the government. Government should have legal and economically planned retirement system for people so they don't really have to steal.
So I think maybe you're not catching my point.
Yeah.
The point I want to know is that you were trying to go against the government.
Yeah.
There is always a possibility that government could either humble to that request and let the multi-party system go through, or they would oppose it.
Yeah.
If they oppose it, there's a possibility they will end up killing all of you who tried it for treason. Or there was a possibility that a military power will have to come down and destroy the government.
Yeah.
I mean, so men who go to school are logically thinking about all of these possibilities. The leaders now in this process of change, did you anticipate all of these possibilities? And what was your strategy or plan? Or was it just key point is to change no matter what?
No, we thought that if we change the government, then democracy will be here and everything will be answered. The day you die and you walk into heaven, your trouble finished, you will live forever. So we knew very well that if we have a change of government and people can run for office and be elected, then of course problems will take care of themselves in that there will be a proper government to put proper conditions on the ground, economic, social, as well as political. And then we would have reached our paradise.
Thank you. So it means that you all realized that that violence would have happened, but it didn't matter. The changing and the goal, what they call the means, justifies the end, was the key point.
No, not that for PPP members. What we wanted, we were victim. For instance, we just go demonstrate, say change the rice price. Your police start shooting people. But then when we go low, before we can even organize, after we form the party, they arrest us and put us in jail and beat us and say we charge with treason, which is punishable by death. And that sort of killed the struggle for new government, for a change. That's why you see the situation. And so the soldiers came in violently, and they didn't do what PPP wanted to be done. They didn't follow our aspiration. No, they said they overthrew the government because they were going to pay us. So since they overthrew the government, now they control it and they govern the way they wanted to.
Okay, thank you.
They put me out of the government, as I told you. They put Quia out of the government. They put a lot of all out of the government.
Okay, next, you mentioned about the fact that there's a law in Liberian books that made PPP think that they had the right as a new party to simply make a request to the government to have by-elections, and that the government was obliged somehow to just follow that legal process and accept it and have a by-election. Can you iterate a little bit about this so-called law, and did you really, as a counselor, did you feel that it was going to be so easy? Were there any other legal processes in that stage?
Political question, not a matter of written law. As a matter of public policy, I know very well that when I go home today, my wife has my food on the table. Why? Because I left money there. Then I will leave from here all day begging for water when I go. Then no water to drink, so they didn't fit up my water and now on the table. I told you a Congo boy, eh? And she didn't do that. No food, no good food, sweet soup, and nothing for me to use dessert. I still eat dessert. If it's not there, I have problem with my wife. So, we wanted the government to change. And we wanted it to be changed in keeping with the books on of the law, the rules on the books. People should be allowed to form another party in keeping with election laws, and we should be able to canvass and take part in government. We were not supposed to be arrested and put in jail because we have a party. Now, calling for the question of having a by-election. Yeah, because the government was one-sided. They were only run by a renegade or True Whig Party people. Now all the True Whig Party members, they used to deduct money for their party use without telling civil servants. All civil servants of Liberia are not members of True Whig Party, but they used to deduct money from them. That was illegal. That was not right. Excuse me. And so, we thought, the way to do it is don't let the True Whig Party continue to go because they will find way. And we were right. And they arrested and put us in jail. The sooner you let them continue to be there, you're not inside there to make opposition legally and powerfully. Excuse me, they will change the rules. And they did that by changing the rules. 2, under the constitution that you got that time, I was going to bring my civil procedure law. Then I bring the new constitution that Sawyer wrote. In that constitution and the old constitution, the citizens of Liberia or anyone who has agreed has a right to petition the government. That's our sovereign right as a people. You can't shoot me because I tell you my problem. You my administrator, you my manager, and you running my estate or you doing my business and I'm not satisfied, certainly I will protest. You think I will protest against the Kiteabo people or go do something to them because they have a right to protest? But I've been to court, I win them there. I'm making an example. We are saying now let PRC get involved, so we'll go to the law and go to the Fed and the facts of the case and let government make a decision. So the same thing was, we come here to change the party. And we see that as long as you stay in power, having a party will be a rubber stamp. So we call for by-election. And it is our right to have a peaceful march. Right now we can do it because the law says so. And the law says too that we can petition the government any way we want it. So we petition Tobo to call for by-election so we can get in the government. So we were ready to do it. We did it at time, we can do it now.
I understand. So a reasonable government should have at least responded in a non-violent way to your petition. Now, the next question that comes to mind is, you mentioned something earlier about this involvement with an outside force pushing towards the coup. And you said that it was a possibility even Talbot had planned to leave because he already had insight about this kind of possible event coming forward.
No.
Okay, please clarify this now.
It's not that I had insight. I was in jail, my people.
No, not you. You said the possibility of the president's schedule to leave the country.
I think what Talbot wanted, the True Whig Party made a decision to execute us and stop the thing because they wanted him to stop this.
So he wanted to be outside.
All day, he was Baptist minister, he was president of the International Baptist Convention, and all that kind of stuff, and he didn't think he would be the president here, and all this kind of thing was going on. And so a group of young people tried them on a fictitious charge of treason. When you the one who shot them and killed their members, they just organized a party that you wanted them to organize in keeping with the law. Then you come now, you catch them, put them in jail, you say you're going to try them, and they will be convicted. You already digging their grave. Talbot didn't want to share that dream. So he wanted to get away. But the True Whig Party made a decision over his head, and he didn't want to be here for it to happen.
Now, you mentioned also that you had some sort of information that could show that this coup, what I'm trying to understand is, in your opinion, do you think this coup would have naturally happened without the outside interference that you mentioned?
No. They wanted to stamp out the confusion in the country, and the Americans who who came and, as I say, I don't know whether they're American, but me, I know that CIA, the American government, will not let nobody come here and kill president.
Yes, so
they're the one who read here, they can't go. So, yeah, they're the one who did it. They can't, because they sent CIA men in my office. They were all around after the coup.
But do you think without that influence, Doe himself could have just gotten up and done that?
The what?
That Doe himself, without that support, because there were stories that some of those soldiers were expecting payment for their work. So without that external force pushing and stimulating the process, could they have just naturally done it by themselves?
They could not have done it.
Okay, thank you.
They were forced by outside force to do it.
All right.
And they were taught, they were schooled, and they were aided and found. I told you, Kurungba want to show me the map that they used to enter the mansion.
Okay.
And I don't want to tell people publicly, people got security there, you go there in the night, they will catch you. There's a map. You can enter the mansion from the sea.
Yes.
You just go down there. I'm not showing you where it is.
No, we're not listening.
If a diver can go into the mansion without anybody knowing.
I see.
Behind there. They put it there so in case the president can escape.
I see.
Okay, they didn't have the time to do that. You sweep, you go down there to the ocean there, at a certain place you jump in the water, you will see the hole. You will be in water. As you come towards the shore, the place is dry, and there are steps coming up. And you can go right under the mansion there.
Okay, so now we got to another area.
They were not able to, these soldiers that I know, they were not able to go and against the True Whig Party unless somebody told. But the woman is right. She said the man who came, in fact, they were now the one who came to her.
Okay.
She said the person who shot her husband, a white man. Does Doe look like any white man?
Okay, so now here's the TRC now has a job to find the root cause and to lay what we call accountability for the issues that are taking place in our nation's history. And we see that the PPP now becomes what they call catalyst in a reaction because of the way in which they went about seeking social justice or changing the government. Yeah. It's like the domino effect. The dominoes are there waiting, but somebody had to tip the first one before the rest will start falling. So it seems now from your testimony that it was that action, even though it may have been a legal action, a just action, it was that action that allowed these foreign players and the local militia to carry out the physical death and destruction process.
No, then the blame go on the leadership of the country.
Yeah, I want you to be clarified. That's why I'm laying the scenario.
I'll clarify very clearly. The leadership goes on the head of the question. The blame, thank you, go on the True Whig Party.
Okay.
They ought not to have run the country to put it in disarray and conflict. And their police ought not to have gone in the street to exacerbate, increase, and made the protest for democratic change dangerous by murdering people in the street and not conducting.
Should not have been corrupt.
An investigation. They should have conducted an investigation to even smoke scream. You know, you really don't care. But you say no, because of this happened, we can't sit down here and all these things happen. These people having a march, even though government did not support it, they didn't get any license to march. But police ought not to have killed anybody, and therefore we conduct a public hearing on this. Okay. And you clear your side. But they didn't do it. Okay. Police killed us. That was not nothing. Okay. So the people will say, oh, but what is this? So this is not a sane government. I think we need to move the people before some kind of thing start. Okay. Because I told you during the Southtown War that they were not able to fight the people. It was the American army, their navy, would transport soldiers from here, carry them to Southtown to Works Department there, unload them at night on the beach, gave them arms to fight the native people. Then later on they asked the native people to come for a truce and come for negotiation. After the people left, when the chief came, they killed them. America is the one that because of the way the American government, the Liberian government was managed, it was a cliche of few people. They didn't have the population behind them. We have told you about how they collect taxes by beating people. I saw them doing that in Kiteabo. They will tie you. They got something they call sacre pied. If you don't pay your taxes, they will take mortar pencil that the beat rests where I don't know you know it, and tie it on your foot. they place here, right here, where the bone is. They will tie it there. And they will tie it harder. The murder pencil will be pressing on your foot. They will make you eat cow poo-poo or bathe in it for you to pay your taxes. They were not running the government correctly. And I thought that maybe the approbation of the American government, it was time to change these people. And then they saw that, well, look, these boys are the ones doing it. If we sit down here and let them go execute those boys, it will take another 100 years for another group to come up. So we just get rid of it. That's why they did it. Okay. For me, if you were to ask my opinion, I don't think nothing. It's just that I don't like the kind of people who got killed, including my father. It was too hectic. Since they overthrow the man, that the only way for the white man to shoot our president, they should stop there and not go further. The violence was too much.
So based on that argument then, I think about the situation of a typical criminal in town who is disenfranchised by a society that's unjust, that doesn't allow wealth to be distributed properly, and he finds himself forced to go steal. Then can he say now that it's not his problem, but it's the problem of the society that is unjust that led me into stealing? So, this is a dichotomy of thought, as you mentioned, this kind of justification that the government was unjust, and therefore they are the ones to be blamed, not those who got up to create the revolution and kill and destroy for the change.
Well, I wouldn't call this a revolution. The revolution was when your own soldier that you train marched in the mansion and killed your president.
How about the one for Doe?
No,
the one for Taylor, the one for Doe, the one for Taylor.
Taylor is a flap. He didn't know what he's doing. As a Congo boy, he didn't know what's going on. Because I would not be, I don't even want to go to Taylor. The people who fought for Taylor, they will talk for him. I think that the True Whig Party missed the boat, but all they needed to do, ban the party. Who are going to talk? The Abago Matthew, who father did not support him. My father, I don't even know where he is. What we are going to do? Nothing. And probably just select a few of us, and even come and appease us. Say, Bacchus, you ambassador. Mr. Cheapoo, go back to Justice Department, go work. Quia, what you want to do? Oh, I want to go work with, because he was working with Lamco. Go back to Lamco and go work. That would have been the end of it. Scatter them. Just overnight them. That's all they needed to do. They didn't have to take their precious time, put us in jail, say they're beating us, they're going to try us. No. Just say that thing is wrong. The shooting was bad, and therefore this thing, government decided that we're bringing rift and division in the country and challenge the security of the nation, and therefore we will ban the party, and we banned it for 50 years. We could have said that. And those who want to get in government, they will be willing. At this time, in order to bring peace, for those who want to take part in government, I appoint this person to do so. Let the other person do so. Let the other person do so. That would have killed the whole thing. If I'm working for money, I would be making noise. I will not make noise. That hungry make me to make noise.
Well, I understand your situation.
And they didn't do that.
One last thing. Did your party win that court case? There was a court case you mentioned where you went to plead for your rights to form a party. Yeah. Did you win the decision in the court case?
Yeah, we won the decision because they went to Togo. That's why I don't have much problem with Togo.
Okay.
The judge of the probate, Monday and probate court at the time in Monrovia, she told me she was going to the mansion, so we should go back. So we went back. In 3 days' time, she rescheduled the hearing of the case, and she wanted to go talk to the president, and then to see about registering the party, this petition caveat that Mr. Sawyer filed, and it was causing a lot of problems. It was dragging the matter. So she went and consulted the president. That shows also about the lack of authority of the judicial system of the country at that time. Because a judge should make decisions based upon the law and the facts of the case. Not to go ask president. There was law that said people have a right. The election law said you can form party. So why did she have to go? But that was happened in those days. But she did well. That person did well. She talked to the president, and the president told her, go ahead and register the party. So when she went to court the following day, she just dismissed the caveat, the petition, and register us.
Thank you very much, Teacher.
Thank you. I know I'm gonna food down
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for coming to share your experience with us.
Yes.
And also enlightening us on some of what took place in this country, especially for some of us who do not know what happened, what caused those things to happen. I have one question. As you talk, it comes to my mind that the issues involved were centered mostly around inclusion into what was happening at that time.
Intrusion.
Inclusion.
Oh, okay.
Inclusion into the government. You were given a position, that position was taken from you and given to somebody else. Another position again was given to somebody else. And then you were appointed to a position, and then they questioned you for doing something that they all were doing. And so it was like some people in the country, especially the indigenous, educated people, were being excluded from the government. So can we say that that was the crux of the matter? Despite the fact that things were happening, people were hungry, people were fighting for their own rights and everything, but the main crux of the matter was that some people were not included, and they felt they had to be included. And this is the reason why PAR was created, Moja was created, and all the other organizations were created in order that all of these people who felt they were left out could be included in there. Could you speak to that?
Yeah, I think that was the reason. We were excluded from exercising power or participating in the exercise and the running of the country. For instance, take my example. I came, my name is Chea Cheapoo. I changed my name in America before coming. The missionary gave us the name Samson. And they said because my grandfather was very, very instrumental in transporting missionary food and equipments and belongings from Kiteabo to go up country in Webbo district. So my father was strong in the Christian, so they named him Samson. And I didn't think that I need to be Samson to be that. To his name, Cheapoo can be a good Christian. I don't got to be Samson. So we changed that name. And when I came, I told you the instance of how they published my name. In journalism, you put the picture as evidence of your article first to see the figure about whom you are writing. Put it on top of the page. Look at the newspaper now. You don't write about somebody, then you put a picture at the last, at the end. That's why you do that. If you're a countryman, you're supposed to have status. Who's saying in America anyway? First of all, the Indian man. Well, he talking about he lawyer, he come from America and this and that. People who went to America were the elite class. But their children went there, they were in Switzerland, this and that. They didn't do anything, they just took drugs and came. Well, I came from the village and I went to school. When I come, you should publish my name, put my name on the top of the paper. How I got my law degree. You don't do it, then you finish talking to the man, say you come from America, he say you study law and this and that, and so Chea Cheapoo put it at the end of the paper. That was an insult to me. I didn't like that. They did that because I'm a countryman. I got country name. If I was a Roberts and I was a Thompson or Gabriel, they would not have done that. So they didn't even want to welcome me professionally into the group, into the rank and file. I didn't want to dignify my participation. My right to participate was being demoralized. How will I get client when the press talk about me like this? Put under my head. Man, who finish and I get down a full picture. They didn't put a picture, they just put my head there. That was wrong.
So if they had allowed you to be a part of it, you wouldn't have gone to look for power.
No. I was already a part of it. I told you I was senator. I went and ran for Senate. I mean, the place where I come from, Mama told me already that I was going to be going places. And I was very ambitious. But this time, I'm not even that ambitious. You see me go around anybody. I don't want a job. They give to me, I take it, but I will have to do it straight. That's the only problem they have with me. You corrupt, I will arrest you, I will expose you. I ain't coming join no cliché. So they don't put me in their government. All their interim government, all their national government, they don't put me in there. They know from where I'm coming. They know my stance. Yeah. Even though make me board of directors say they're scared of me, they don't do it. They don't invite me. I am a prominent figure here. I took part in all of the revolutionary matter in this country. All the jobs that I did the best one. In the cabinet, our Minister of Justice, number 3 man. When the country was set up, there were 3 positions. Minister of Defense, Minister of Justice, and the Foreign Affairs. I occupied that in the cabinet rank. I'm number 3. When I went to Supreme Court, I Chief Justice. I don't know small potatoes. Then not only that, when I got to go, when I start, in the legislature, I took the higher position. I was senator in my own right. And I have a burial place. Grand Gedeh people have a place where they bury senators. Now, I'm not going to be buried in no River G. I was senator for Grand Gedeh County, so they were going to bury me in Zwedru. My spot there. Every time I go out, I go clean it. That's the kind of man. When they ask me, I say, I'm not River G senator. They say, yeah, but are you whom? I said, no, it was part of Grand Gedeh. The record show a senator from Grand Gedeh. They never tell me what name River G said, Fish Town. No, a Zwedru man. So that what happened.
Okay.
So if you put me in the government, it had to go. I think they were still going to have problems. Because I don't think, from what I saw, Gabriel Baker Matthew, Oscar Quia, and the people, the way we used to talk, they were not ready, we were not prepared to compromise. They were going to sack us from the place anyway, because we're not going to do what they wanted us to do.
Okay, you talk about the decree that you helped to draft. That decree was the one they used to kill the 13 on the pole.
Yeah.
When was this decree drafted after the coup?
Well, the decree was drafted not too long after the coup.
How many days?
It was not a matter of days. I just don't have that timetable about the timing. But it was done not too long after the coup.
And can you remember what you had in the decree?
Oh, yes. We define the crime, first of all. We define the crime of rampant corruption, abuse of public office, and something else were there. We define it, and we put fine American English inside, and we give it, we define the crime, and we put planks in there. What you need to do, what you must have been found doing before you be guilty under that statute. When you write in law, that's what you do. And people don't want to use people who got experience. They just go take all kind of people. Anyway, we're not here for that. So we define that thing, was rightly defined, and that's what they use.
So, what prompted what prompted you to write the decree?
Well, our Minister of Justice. Well, that's my job. I give advice to government if I'm called upon. So they asked me to see how we didn't have law, we don't want to charge them with treason, all that kind of thing. So the PRC government, as a revolutionary regime, it had to make its own law, revolutionary law. Yes.
So these people were already caught before you you wrote the decree?
Yeah, the people were already arrested.
Oh, okay, so the decree were written especially for them?
The decree was written for anybody. If you can enforce it now, anybody caught with stealing public money, abusing public power, they can do. But your Liberia person, you don't want it, so I think you're banned it already, not part of your law. But it was not made specifically for certain individuals. It was a part of the law of the land.
Okay, you said you define corruption and misuse of public fund.
Yeah.
What were the penalties for corruption? What were the penalties?
Well, if you were guilty, I understand what you're talking. If you were guilty of all of those, the penalty was death.
Thank you.
If you were guilty of all of those things, you abuse power, and you are corrupt, you are mass web at the expense of the Liberian people, and then you are despotic in your political leadership, and you are able to impose atrocities on the Liberian people, like the riot. You shoot 100 people. Me, the record I got is 300 of our bar members died, not 100. But I see my leaders talking. Secretary General said that 100. I can't come and say not 100. But we have a record. 300 people died on that day of the shooting. 300. Tell them, former Minister of Justice Cheapoo said so. And it had to be credible. We have a record. Yeah, it had to be credible because I found out before I do it. 300 children got killed. They were not 100. The mass grave is when you go to Godley Street. You go down. Before you get to the gutter, that deep gutter, right there, not too close to the gutter, there where the mass grave is, rather. And this is where they put the bodies. They dump them there. So it's not no tree. In fact, there were other people who their family took. Some children who were shot and they were not dead, so the family took them. Some of them died because there were no hospitals. You are hiding. You don't want to have a child who was involved in the riot, so you don't take the child to hospital, so they die. And the family buried them quietly. That's what happened. And this government, our government, the True Whig Party government, ought not to have done that. When the Constitution says people have a right to protest. So the government was despotic. And therefore we formed that statute to bring them to justice, and we did.
Okay, lastly, you talk about the Southern War. And I think like one of my colleagues said, there are some things that people know about, that we do not know about, and that have impact on the history of our country. And so, like she said, we are happy that you brought all this. But I would like to know, under which government did this war take place?
The tribal war.
Yeah, the Southern War that you talk about in the... Excuse me?
I think it has something in there, but the tribal war, what they call it, Southern War, they refer to as that. It has that history there. So you want to know where we can find it?
No, I want to know under which government.
I think it was Barclay.
Okay.
It was Barclay, President Barclay.
So he was the one that ordered them to be killed?
Well, if he were president, the people got killed, and we blaming Doe for the execution. So he the one, he was president.
Edwin Bagley. Arthur Bagley or Edwin Bagley?
I think it's Arthur Bagley. The man, the last Bagley. That Edwin? That the last Bagley? And look at that. They got Arthur Bagley, Edwin. So Bagley will be president here. So that was Edwin Bagley.
The war of extermination. The one that he declared as war of extermination. Edward Bagley, in his last administrative report, he talked about a war that was waged to exterminate the Maryland government.
Yes.
Is that what you're referring to?
I think so. You say the war that was waged to do what?
To exterminate the Maryland government.
To exterminate the Maryland government?
Yeah.
No.
Which one you talk about?
It's not the one that... I'm talking about the Sastan War. It's in the history. Talk about the Sastan War, how the war was fought. I think Doris Bank Henrys has the expose in that book about the Sastan War. But outside the book, I was told the man who sold me the land, my 1.5 acre of land where my house is, his name is Oman Charlie. He's a crewman. He was here when this thing happened. He told me that, remember the poor king and brother chiefs, and they killed them. And he showed me the spot of the grave where they buried the people together in the mass grave. So I think it was Edwin Barclay. Edwin Barclay. After him, then the king. So that was very round and not too bad. The Sastan War was. My father was alive, and probably my grandfather then was. So
after King Edwin Barclay.
Yes. Oh, after King, then Edwin Barclay. Yeah. Okay. It was Edwin Barclay. King tried to suppress he was involved in the Fananipo War and all that kind of stuff and so forth. And they tell me that the Crew tribe, the Sastan people, refused to pay taxes, and they sent people there and they fought them. That's the war I'm talking about.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Witness, do you have any final word for the TRC or the people of Liberia?
Thank you. Well, I don't know if it's your term of reference. You talk about the conflict in Kiteabo. I'd like that conflict to end, because my intention to give them to buy the deed and redeem it was purely a humanitarian gesture, in the sense that my desire for indigenous development, same kind of feeling for the country people that drove me to take part in the revolution of change, same kind of feeling that I have now, that public servants should not be able to steal government money. Government should prepare for their honorable retirement. Those same kind of feelings, those were the feelings that propelled me to do something for my people. And I don't know why the good that I did doesn't go down well with the people, especially when they are the one benefiting from it. And they when they go talk about it, they tell lies. Even when recently, sir, when I went up country to ask them why they signed a 100-year contract lease of the property, they didn't even tell me. And we have meeting your cow, Bodio. You said that if I did that, then if you ate the cow, the tribe ate the cow. Then you made me to be the one to, as trustee. Why will you sign a contract with the people and you don't tell me? They say for me to ask them was an affront. I'm not supposed to ask any Bodio that kind of question. So it means I abused the Bodio. I didn't abuse Bodio. Bodio came and said, I'm the trustee. Then he will go sign a contract for 100 years, he will not consult me. I had a right to ask him. So they don't understand what's going on here. They're in that bush there. So what I want you to do, I beg you, I want to lead a team with my children. I want you, if there's any way in your power, to call the Kiteabo people and call me and probe into it and bring a settlement. I had good intention to give them the deed. But I'm asking for the money because of the way they are treating me, giving me bad name and this and that. Even for me not to go, and they say they made medicine, Kiteabo made medicine while I ain't getting job. Well, Kiteabo never made medicine for me to get job here. And they don't have the power to make any medicine. I told you I was Christian on the 8th day of my birth. I'm a devout Christian. I don't believe in superstition. And one lady told me, I told you, she said, Kiteabo, I'm able you, my son. Don't drink their water. I'm happy you always carry your bottle of water with you. God, drink filtered water. I'm Chesa's son. I don't drink. I don't drink from the. We have a filter in the house. Our water is boiled and filtered. And mommy, sure, when you say you have stomach, especially for me, I always have stomach ache. She said, you sure you drinking your boiled water? I said, yeah, mommy, I don't know, but my stomach sick, so I drink boiled water. I go country, I get my bottled water. She said, as long as you don't drink with them, I don't drink liquor. Assembly of Government, we don't drink liquor. I don't eat their food because of pepper. I can't afford to eat pepper. My food doesn't have pepper in it. So she said, as long as you don't eat with them, you don't drink with them, you didn't drink their water, they will not do anything to you. I was the only way for them to get it. Because I'm not able to kill me. I don't even pay the money. I go to Uncle John's house. I carry. But I can't continue like this. I want somebody to settle this matter. I want to make peace with my people. I want them to know, to remember me, not as a rebel who fight the society, but as a son. I want to be an example. I want to be, what your Liberian people call it, the English people call it, I want to be a star. I want to be remembered. This is the man who went to school, he came and did something, public service for all of us. And that's how I want to be remembered. This is why I don't impose upon them where the money go, when the money go. As trustee, I'm going to sue them to account for that money. But when I sue for the money, they want to call, they say, the man, now our trustee. Look at that. I'm doing it for you. Please, you talk the case. I want. The second thing is, TRC should make recommendation about how to eradicate corruption. To say that corruption is a crime and is punishable by this and that is not sufficient. You have to find solution for the problem of bribery and corruption in your government. The way to do it, as I see it, being a public servant, and we marry women, they have children for us, and we provide for the women. When you die, your wife takes over your property for the rest of her life. And you can't outweigh your wife. She can't be there, and then you make will and you don't need any support for her. The court will take it from those people and give it to your wife. So men, people in authority, as men are in authority in the family, they're supposed to provide for the benefit of the children as well as the other people who serve with them, such as the wife, the mother. Government should do that. Get good employment system and retirement system. If people know that when they retire, they will be better off, then say they will not steal money. And increase your salary level. We are now in 1920 Liberia. Now we got streets. In those days, people walk. Now we got streets all over Monrovia. So we need to ride cars. You can't be a government official, you retire, then you walking. No. That's it. That is the incentive for stealing. You see, you see Gabriel Bago Matthew. Gabriel was the president, pronouncing as the champion for change, for democratic change. But when Bago Matthew was sick, people gave him a system for medical treatment like a pauper, great man like that. He been foreign minister 3 times, and he go to the foreign ministry. They don't even have esteem for the man. They question him whether or not he passed. It's not an issue whether or not the man's passport was not renewed. No, if the passport is not renewed and they brought before the foreign ministry, they should spontaneously make a new passport. Charge the people if you have to. And when a man is sick, or former government official is sick, and he want medical travel, to go abroad, the government is supposed to facilitate Bago Matthew's travel. They're not supposed to wait until the man dies and go take him there and give him honorable. Body is gone. What will we do with it? Up now, Bago Matthew got nothing from the government for the children. All the revolution. Bago Matthew was not a man, but houses, this and that. He has no house. Bago Matthew rented houses until he paid the rent. Meaning that man would have been alive today. So I want you, TRC, that's one of the the reason for conflict. This is the reason why people don't have mercy on the government. The people who work with you and you're not treating, they are more your enemy. So if you treat your former workers, you will have no problem. So we should put a retirement in place for people who serve us when they leave, so they can have a better life. That's one group. That's the second one I made. The Kiteabo thing that is first. Second, thirdly, one of my recommendations to this commission is this. They brew a discontent about people to go around and get money during election time and win election. We find out in Liberia now, it's just like America. People buy elections. I use it in a progressive sense. In that, if I have money, I can entertain the people more. I can mobilize more because I have the resources. They don't vote on me because of my campaign platform or my history in public service. How they think I'm able to do a better job when I get there. No. How much money you gave to people that had Liberian who are voting. Bribery. You pay people, they will vote for you. If you don't have money, zero. And most of the country people, they educate, they have money, they come from underprivileged background. Him to talk about it. What do you think going on? Thank you. I'm gonna keep it up. Yeah, I'll keep it up, but you're not talking. Underprivileged people find they can't make themselves privileged because they can't get in position. You can't win electoral victory here. You ain't got money. That's another creeping problem. You got money, you will win. You ain't got money, you will win. And our society is poor. A lot of Liberians are poor people. There are even no job in the country. The government salary is so meager. Even if all your family members are working, they can't even feed themselves with that salary. So therefore, it's not enough. So now people get the job. All the people you see in the Senate now, these are people who are able to get money and pay. Especially, I didn't know people were running in district. I've wasted my time going to Kiteabo to run. I would have run in my Corwell district there. Today I will be inside there. So you have to do something. I don't know what it is. So this thing will not be like America. Because your population, majority of the people are distressed and they don't have economic empowerment. Yes, we got political parties. But only the chairman can finance the political party. Members don't even have the means to eat. So they can't even pay dues. So all the political parties are poor. Then tomorrow you come, you see one group of people with money always winning. That's another trouble. So you got to do something to empower. I don't know, you change your election law. Find a way. You the leader. Find a way. They bring in a problem. I see the problem immense. So, the fourth one. Yes. I'm a government specialist, gentlemen. Yes. Because I work in conflict, and I didn't just work in conflict. During peacetime, I was senator, so I know how it is. When you don't have money, you don't got name. You got to have money before you have name. If you have your former minister walking the street and begging and don't have any support, it demoralizes civil service prestige. It makes the government look small. It's just like a father who doesn't care for his children. No schooling, no help. Your children in the street, they become drunker and you call yourself father? No. So the Liberian government had to come up out of that. Then medical facilities. Every time from the time I was a small boy. And you got the money. And you lucky. People are always giving you millions of dollars. They're willing to credit you. Educated people, your financial people, they're always with the World Bank. Get money to build medical facilities. The country. Your country is not developed. For a country that's 100-year-old, it's underdeveloped. And you got your citizens traveling in other countries and seeing the changes. And you don't seem that you're able to do it. You ought to say, you're saying that you don't got money. If you got children and they're not fed, if you say you don't got food, they don't listen to you as a father. They will disrespect you. That is another quest for change. You can't develop the country. You always say, I don't know why you got public work ministry. They can't even fix the street in your capital. But you got people on salary every month, you pay them. Why run a public work ministry that is not working? I see the wisdom in it. The fifth one is this. Promote inter-tribal, inter-citizenry collaboration. I don't know that B word. Working together. They all think about, and especially for the women, and when you tell your children, your daughters. I remember on BWI, the Congo girls from Monrovia, on Friday, all the black cars will go to BWI and pick them up. That's why I marry an American woman. The cars will pick them up. They will not come Monrovia, they will go to the rubber farms and be there. When y'all go to, and they come with new dresses. That time they had a kinking. Okay. Fine looking girls, but they can't approach their peers. They're above you. And but they don't study. They're not academically fit. So I have problem with them. All right. You need to stop that. Let educated and civilized girls marry less educated and civilized children. Let us mingle as a nation. Let the Grimes have people way down in the last village in Lofa County. Let them go and seek out the Cheapos in River G. Let them go seek out the Balazer in Nimba County. We must not just sit in Monrovia. You have made this town to be the only town. You got no control over the country except Monrovia. Montserrado County. Why you can't live in the other counties? I don't see you there. You can't make recommendation. Let's civilize educated people and let government bring incentive. So that county people, you work in county government, you make just as equal money of people who work in the interior department. Opportunities should be spread across the board. That's what I mean. I think that would be my favorite recommendation. If you do that, you will have a sane, democratic, economically viable society. And I don't think you will have any reason for conflict. Because people who retire, you think I would see my father working, he worked for government long time, and then he ain't got nothing. I would be concerned. What kind of government is there? I would not even want. My son is in Saudi Arabia. You know what Chea told me, Junior told me? He said, Daddy, they Kiteabo thing, I don't get time for it. Because I took him there to work with the people. I said, you're the young people, you can work with them. They carried the Quiz Society to him. He's not a member of the Quiz Society. You all should be member of the societies. When I was talking in your mouth, I was talking American English. If you were a member of the Quiz Society and they come there, you will know how to deal with it. My son left the place and now he's in Saudi Arabia. He got Ghana woman. He even married Liberian girl. Because he felt this system got no place for him. Let us make room for every citizen. And you, the letter people, the educated people, the powerful, the rich people, engage the poor people and unite. As soon as you do that, your problem will be over. I thank you very much for calling me. And I got one comment to make, even though the TRC didn't tell me about it. The newspaper Daily Observer editor, Kenny's Best, he was my platoon leader on BWI. But for some reason, we have fundamental disagreement, especially when he wanted me to free why I signed the death warrant of the man who killed his wife and child. Why I made Doe to sign it. He had a problem with me. One of his relatives working in the American embassy, he embezzled money. I don't remember the facts, but I had him to be tried. And Kenny Bear has problem with that. And anything about me, even the other day when he published a newspaper, he named all the people who come into PRC. I'm number 3 after Oscar Quia, Tipote. Cheapoo is the 3rd person. He even called my name. Keeping grudges. Call him. Pressman is a public servant. You don't keep grudges, and you don't publish false information. If he has any problem with me, because I'm here and I'm going to be going places, I want to make peace with him. If the PRC can call 2 of us, let him tell me what I really did wrong, so we can be friends. But for them to exclude me in the newspaper, they're biased. I have my name on the internet before I got in America. And the thing he wrote on the internet are not true things. I can sue him. I even have a case against him in the civil law court after I left the Justice Department for libel. I didn't prosecute that case. I didn't follow it because I feel, it's not necessary. This society now is not all about indigenous people and country people and civilized people. All of us are civilized. All of us. And when I got to publish my paper, were more popular than Inke's best own. I just decided to store all my equipment so I'm not going to printing. Well, I decided to be quiet. Because if I start printing, I will print the truth. And I don't want to be in public disarray. So I said, so if you can call Inke's best, we will talk across the table. I'm willing, if I do anything, to apologize. But if he continue to exclude me, PRC called me, and it's a news for everybody, then you go call my name. So you bias against Cheapoo? That's the last thing he need to do if he want wrong paper here. So you're calling you. Okay. Let's make peace. I thank you.
Councillor Chea Cheapoo, on behalf of the Commission, and I'm confident the people of Liberia, we extend our appreciation to you for firstly honoring the invitation of the Commission to come and then to deliberate on these wide-ranging, cross-cutting issues, and at the same time to advance recommendations that in a lot of ways should be able to contribute to our reconciliation process. Thank you very much, Councillor Cheapoo. You may leave now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Gentlemen, I thank you very much.
What to the TRC?
Yeah, no. No, you will not do me bad. You don't hit me.
Thank you.
I'm your son.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.